with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Vitamin G. Vitamin G. Got what you need.
I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone.
Vitamin G, got what you need. Vitamin G, got what you need.
All alone.
Vitamin G. Discussing that heat in the street, hey, we got just what you need on Vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Vitamin G.
I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone. All alone. I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone.
Vitamin G, got what you need. Vitamin G, got what
All
you need.
alone.
Vitamin G. Ay. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Vitamin G. Vitamin G. Got what you need.
I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone.
Vitamin G, got what you need. Vitamin G, got what you need.
All alone.
Vitamin G. Hey, final round. I already know how I'm coming, man. Yeah. Try run the town. Tell no duck when they hear that sound. How they gon' come up now? Heavy as the head that'll wear that crown. I'm going pound for pound. And if it's about smoke, then we talk all of that. from an ounce to a pound. Take it, they biting this now, cause my drip right up the seat. How could they be? Give me a couple of rounds, cause I'm a beast when I'm on vitamin G. You see they start crumbling now, mad struck start mumbling now. Get the gist, I ain't reaching for cloud. Plot twist, I'm the one with the keys. Clock blitz, know they little half freeze. Different continents, I be torn. We living life, making yours look boring. See, we win at the end, it's a spoiler warning. Cause I keep heating up, I might blow the whole planet. They calling me toxic like global warming. But they keep tuning in once again and again. I'm the one at the top, just to form a warning. Truly, I'm De Niro when it come to movies. Get De Niro, entertain the groupies. Habanero if you come pursue me. But I hop on the game, too busy rolled up whenever my girl getting moody. Link up with the gang, we all go insane. Catching them bills on the duty. I'm in Stixie, I'm locked in. Bought a box, I was like 10. Back then, used to box, nowadays they ain't throwing hands. Mama said we got more advanced. One thing about me, I adapt, bought a Glock fin. Keep me safe from the block in. The game kept me off the block. Ain't got flex about looting my Ruger. I can shit on you with my computer. See my graphics card costs more than your damn job can afford to pay you. And my monitor, big as hell, detail, so I can see when I spray you. To reload the clip and record the clip is go all say to that SSD. Know a whole lot of trill game heads like me when the C tune into that VGP. Take over the west and the east, and we got just what you need on Vitamin G.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Dante Crisis back with your weekly dose of vitamin G, and with me is the these guys. I'm joined with the usual suspects, the men behind the curtain, my certain minorities of brothers. We first have Jubei Sensei. How are you doing, Jubei? What have you been up to? I'm clearly smoking that good shit.
I am. I've been good, man. I've been good. What have I been doing, man? Oh yeah, I ran out of shit to do the first week of Halo, so
Wow.
I've been avoiding that. I hit level 20 and did both the first event that they had and the whole first week in like a day. So
343, man. I'm telling you.
Whole new season, still little content despite all the time they had.
Whole new season. I'm looking at this pace, 5 weeks. I'll be done in 5 weeks.
And
how long did you play Halo second season?
A day and a half.
Wow.
It came out Tuesday. By Wednesday at like 9-10 p.m., I was done with the event and all the first weeks of challenges.
I saw your gameplay. You were having fun.
I mean, it's not that it's not fun. It's just I shouldn't have hit rank 20 in the battle pass already.
So what's the solution? Artificially nerfing your progress or adding more goddamn content?
Artificially nerfing my progress as well.
Really? You're asking for that?
This is what they want. They want people to give them 0 XP the more they play. That's what happened.
Here's the thing, like, outside of weeklies, yeah, okay, you get, like, the first 5 matches of the day, you get some points or whatever, but, like, weeklies is your bread and butter. If you're trying to finish the pass, that's what you're going to do. People were crying about, some of these are difficult. Like, they were like, next week we're going to turn down the difficulty of some of these. I'm like, I fucking got through it in a day. Like, it's not that fucking hard.
Well, to be fair, you are the Jubei Sensei, so you are no mortal man.
I mean,
you gotta remember, free to play opened this up to non-Halo veterans. So
that's true, but
a lot of people have dived into this for the first time, and there's
it's I like the new maps. I really do. I do enjoy the new maps. It's just they gotta fix this challenge. Like when I have to stop myself from playing because the payout just ain't gonna work until the weekly reset, I'm stuck not playing your game until Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? Like what I there's not much I can really do about that. Like I could jump on now and get 100, 200 points a match for like the first couple of matches, but like that's not enough. That's like maybe one level up a day. And even then, that's all it's going to do is shorten the time it's going to take for me to finish the pass.
Yeah,
So-
and Amadeus, the worst part is at this moment in time, I would say wait till hit season 3 drops, then I would say it's worth dropping in, because like every live service game, like you don't get enough content to satiate you for a decent amount of time until like depending on the game, either the second or third season.
Yeah, I mean, it could just be me because, like I said, what they release, like the modes and shit that they release, they're fun. Like I have a blast playing it. I'm more so irritated by my progression because this is going to be another example of like the first Battle Pass came out in November. Before the end of November, I was done with it and had nothing really to do besides jump on there with you on occasion and shit. Like I wasn't
that's
really
why
getting
you're not
anything out of
enjoying it. It's because you're not playing with me. I think that's why you're not enjoying it. All right, but
So
moving.
you're not playing for the enjoyment. You're playing for the rewards.
Yeah, I
Once
just
you
want
not get
I
one-
want the rewards, and once I stop getting them, I get irritated.
See, this is what gaming has fucking boiled
Like,
down
like
to.
so, like gameplay isn't king here. Rewards are king.
Which is sad. We have devalued our games to just rewards. God, you know what? With the way you're sounding, maybe NFTs are the way to go. You fucking sellouts. Alright, Zero, what have you been up to, my guy?
What is going on, guys? Not a lot. Been busy this week, Mother's Day and all that type of stuff.
Yep.
But I got back into Phoenix Wright. I really just need to like finish this. I'm on the last first episode of the last case, because first time in my life I have a game that I've never opened. It's still in the seal, which is Phoenix, the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. And it's like,
I haven't opened mine too. I haven't opened mine either, bro. I'm right there.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I've never been that person. I was like, why buy the game if you're not going to play it and open it?
Well, now you are, sir. Now you are that person. I hope you're proud of yourself.
And it's a Nintendo game, so it's not like, oh, I get a benefit of it going on sale in a few months. It's the same price when I bought it that it probably is today. So like, there was no point of me buying it at the time I did. Still doing Elden Ring, although I actually paused on Elden Ring just for a bit. Because I'm finishing up Nobody Saves the World. Valkyria. I'm trying to finish Valkyria Chronicles because it leaves PS Now on the 17th. But
Oh, you
PS
didn't
Now
finish it yet?
No.
By the way, Valkyria Chronicle Part 4 is for $10 right now on
I
discount.
gotta get 2 and 3 for. Oh wait, 3 is impossible to get, isn't it?
2 and 3 are on Vita or PSP. I forgot which one it is.
Probably
well,
Vita.
But
well,
according
let's
to
hope.
Weeb, 2 and 3 are you don't need to play 2 and 3 to understand 4.
I just kind of want to go through the whole thing, but yeah, I get it.
I feel you.
And then of course PS Now just dropped you don't have now, but they just dropped Ultimate Ninja Storm. I think it's 4.
I own that
I bought
game.
like
man.
all 4 of them for like
Exactly.
$12. Like
It was
a month
it
ago.
was dirt ass cheap for like the entire
well,
series.
some of us don't have that. All right, so I got it now. All right.
I dare you before.
It's for Blasphemous, which is a game that's been on my like backlist for a while that I wanted to play. I forgot what the third one was, but they were actually 3 pretty hype games for the PS Now selection. So I was kind of proud of them for dropping that. Basically, this is the last one we'll get, I'm assuming, before whatever happens in June. So who knows what that's going to look like till then. But otherwise, that's basically it.
Right, fair enough. Omar, what have you been up to?
Okay, so a few things. First of all,
It better only be a few.
is it possible for you to show the clip that I sent you just now in your DM?
Give me a minute. Let me see what I can do. I mean, it is you, so I'm gonna go as slowly as fucking possible. Okay.
It's a very short clip, just to show. So what you're about to see is me playing The Ascent with a friend of mine, and this game is not stable. It's like, especially online, you're gonna get stuff like this.
Wow, that's a very fucking hard freeze.
Give it a second,
That
you will
is-
see.
No,
Oof!
wow, that is frozen solid.
Ow!
Yeah, no,
Ow!
Yeah,
Gross.
it stayed like this for almost 5 minutes. No, I didn't allow it to stay like this for 5 minutes because it stayed like this for a long time. And
Gross.
so what happened at some point, and this happened to me twice or thrice now. I got what's called I got kicked out from the game. Okay, no problem. I am locked in error screen. The error is at 32 or 35%, and I can't move. I can't go to my PlayStation menu because I'm locked in the error screen. The only solution for me is to literally hard reset my PlayStation
Holy shit.
with the button. Yeah.
See,
like-
I'm thinking, wait, is the video buffering? But then I see the numbers. I keep going, and no, it's the game that's frozen this bad. I've never had a game freeze up this bad.
That's insane, dude. That's gross. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that was your experience. I didn't see any of
This is
that when I
just
played
a
it, but that's gross.
This is just a small snippet of what I have experienced. I got kicked out 3 times, 2 times online, 1 time offline. I am enjoying the game, don't get me wrong. On offline, I am playing it. I played Alien Isolation and I loved it. I'm loving this game. The game is fun. It have issues.
I just had some server issues.
And,
That weekend.
No, this is not a server issue. There's no
but
way
this is
is.
all
Yeah, it's,
game.
that's.
He said he's
crazy.
playing on. He said he's playing offline just fine. So I'm guessing.
No, I literally said I got kicked off offline and the error happened offline as well.
Okay.
This is not relegated to online only.
This is bad. Holy shit.
Was there a new patch recently?
No idea, but one thing I know for sure, this game is not finished. It should not be released like this. Like
Well,
this at some point.
it's been out for like what? How many months now? It came out last summer.
Yeah, but
So I'm just saying, like this wasn't an issue like 6 months ago or something. Was there
No, it
recently like a new
was.
patch?
It was. If you go on
There was
YouTube,
a save issue. I know there was a save issue
No,
6 months
listen.
ago.
If you go on Google, just Google and type in the accent freezing and stuff like that, the amount of shit I've read, apparently there is an issue you couldn't even play with your friend. That's how bad that game.
He's not wrong. I got one from 9 months ago. Error out of video memory. The Ascent freeze crash trying to allocate rendering source issue.
Oh wow. Yeah, I never heard about that 6 months ago. I heard about some of the
No,
save
not
issues.
6. 9 months ago.
Yeah.
Hold up. Here it is. Hold on. Yeah, no, there. Yeah, and this is Xbox.
No, I just
That's wild.
I remember the save issue. I remember there being a specific save issue with the co-op mode that was the issue, but I don't remember hearing about the freezing. I haven't played it yet. I told you I'll be in a rush to touch these games because they do release broken.
Damn, and like I said, this isn't 6 months ago. This is 9 months ago. We're closing up in
Yeah.
a year, and this is that happened. Like I said, I'm sure that's an Xbox error screen. And you ran out of video memory on a fucking Xbox. The fuck?
Yeah. How? I have questions.
Bruh, I don't
yeah.
I don't just have questions. Like, hold on, hold on, this screen is that. Wait, is that a free is that an Xbox One menu or is that a Series X?
My gameplay is on PlayStation.
No,
5.
what about the one that I'm watching right now? I
Oh.
can't remember this dash screen because I don't know if it's the same for Series X.
The UI looks exactly the same, Dante.
Okay, fair enough. Again, I've not played Xbox Series X, so I don't know.
Yeah.
So-
The UI is the same.
Okay, but yeah, this dude just straight out fucking like his memory. Even if it was the fucking Series 1 X, not Series One X, the Xbox One X. How the fuck did that run out of memory? Oh wow, this dude's stuck on a fucking splash screen after trying to join the game for holy shit. No, this is definitely Xbox One X or something, because this load screen is ridiculous.
Yeah, I'd say that's last gen.
But yeah, still, how do you anyway, continue, Omar.
Neon
So
Giant
I-
got some work.
So
Yeah, no, even the fact that this shit is like running at like what looks like 30. Yeah, that's last gen because that shit's like 60 on pretty much everywhere.
So that's this game, and now when it comes to Trek to Yomi, I sent you 2 clips.
No,
very
that's in
short
60 frames per second, by the way.
2 clips, very short as well. The first clip is me sheathing. It's not even sheath, it's just me using one move against an enemy over and over and over again. Mind you, this is a boss fight, and he doesn't have the capacity to think, oh, maybe because I am getting destroyed, I should change my pattern. Nope, he takes it. And mind you, I am playing on a mode called Kensei, meaning I one-shot them, they one-shot me. But bosses only one-shot me, I can't one-shot them. That's why you're gonna see a lot of HP bar. And the other one is me fighting a normal enemy. I hit him and it just didn't register, and I died because of him stabbing me. And this game, and there's a third boss fight that I have, but I didn't send it to Dante, is where my controller literally stopped working at the beginning of at the start of the battle, and my my dodge button doesn't work whenever intended. Like Trek to Yomi, this game is not finished whatsoever. This is one of the worst game I've ever played when it comes to what's called indie games. Like this, for all the what's called banter that they did, and they called out Sega for what they did with that edition. Like what's the name? What's the name of the studio that what developer digital? Shame on them for releasing Trek to Yomi like this. Shame on them. Genuinely shame on them. See, I hit him, it didn't register, and I died. And if you're gonna make your game like I don't recommend you playing Trek to Yomi for real. Not if you one, it's not worth it right now. Don't support them. Two, the game is very short. Like what, 5 hours? I would be lying if I said 5 hours, if not 4 hours long. The game is literally 1 or 2 stages, but they're doing it in such a way that it comes over as if it's multiple stages. It's filled with collectibles that means nothing, and if you miss them, you can't get them back. You need to play the game all over again, and it's got multiple endings, but the story doesn't make any sense. The only thing good about this game are 2 things: the audio, when it comes to the Japanese audio, and the setting. Other than that, it's a horrible game. Stay away from it. And yeah, I'm now playing what's called Ascent offline. I'm starting to even get bored with the Ascent, to be honest. It's like enemies are all the same, weapons don't feel unique. I don't know if I'm gonna keep playing or just play Odin Fear back on or Valkyria Chronicle and finish that so I can start Valkyria Chronicle 4. Indie games have really taken an old time with these games. When you got games like Kana, you got games like DevDoor and Tuning and stuff like that. Shame. We'll leave it at that.
All right, Pharaoh, what have you been up to?
Man, I had a rough week. My internet service provider decided to say "fuck you" on Wednesday, and they turned my internet off for no reason.
Let me guess. Comcast?
FiOS.
You rep FiOS over there.
Yeah, they cut my internet off for a whole week. They didn't know, and when I called them, they didn't know why it was turned off. They didn't know how to, and they didn't know how to turn it back on.
You should turn around. You know what you should do? You should pull the race card. That shit will just get fucking sorted right quick.
You should demand your money back or something like that.
I was about to say, I forgot how to pay you guys then, if that's the case.
Well, the funny part is that my internet service cut off the moment I paid the bill.
Then they took your money.
Yeah, I paid the bill, and like an hour later my internet turned off. Yeah, that was the mess. Well, I had internet, but it was partial internet, and being it was partial internet, I couldn't game, so I had to I got a little bit of gaming in, but I had to turn my phone's hotspot on and connect my console to the internet that way, because my console that I use is not my home console. My home console is upstairs in my kids' room, so that they can use my Game Pass and all that other stuff and play and enjoy games. And as long as I'm logged into my account, I'm typically fine. But in this instance, I wasn't. So I'd use my phone as a hotspot. So I was like playing Scarlet Nexus on my hotspot. And that was about it. It was a rough week for gaming. I was on the phone with customer service like for 4 days straight. It was a mess. But yeah, so I got a little bit of Scarlet Nexus in. I did download Trek to Yomi. I'll be achievement hunting tomorrow, so I'll be playing a little bit of NBA 2K for like an hour, and then I'll probably play some Trek to Yomi.
All right, cool. As far as me, more Guardians of the Galaxy, and spoiler alert, my rating for this game: buy at full price. Buy at full price. It is an amazing game. I'm loving the characters. I'm loving the story. I'm loving the twist. Like, there's one twist I called very early on. There's a second twist with a character who shows up that I did not fucking expect. I didn't see it coming.
Which part are you at?
I have just freed the... Oh, we're gonna go and fight Fiend Fang Foom.
Gotcha. Alright.
So, I think you know which character I'm on about who's shown up that I didn't expect.
I didn't
I'll
expect
probably
to
start that one next week.
And I was like, oh, neat. Cool, this is dope. Didn't expect to see you in this.
Yes. The one thing I did is that little thing they find near the beginning of the game. You know what I'm referring to?
Yes.
I knew exactly what that was the moment I fucking saw it. I was like, that's not what I think it is it? Oh no, oh shit. Then again, knowing the comics, I should have fucking expected who shows up after seeing that, actually.
I'd say it's funny. Playing through that game, my mind was still very much in Marvel movie mode.
Yeah.
So, like, a lot of the things that shocked me were like, oh, yeah, this is clearly based on the comic, so it shouldn't be surprising. But, like, I've spent the last almost 20 years focusing just on Marvel, the movie universe. So I completely forget that, like, the universes are separate and, like, doing very different things.
Yep. Hey, for all we know, they're gonna somehow work in the gaming universe in with the actual cinematic universe now that they've fucking established that the multiverse is so expansive. How fuck it? It'd be hilarious if we saw like digitized characters from the game show up in Secret Wars. But yeah, aside from that, playing Ghostwire Tokyo, the story is definitely interesting. I'm enjoying a lot of the side quests. The side quests are actually really depressing. Actually, you're effectively helping ghosts move on from their regrets and their worries. Again, I'll give the game this. The setting is really cool, atmospheric. It's the juxtaposition of seeing such a heavily populated city like Tokyo just completely fucking deserted, aside from pretty much ghostly visitor spirit abominations that want to kill you. My problem is this game's open world is so fucking daunting in the fact that there's so much shit. Like, you have the option as a side thing to collect spirits of people whose souls got removed from their bodies and send them back via telephone. Yes, you are literally making a spirit call. The problem is, I have over 60,000 of the fucking things found. Problem is, there's 150,000. There's 250,000 of them.
Oh, do you know what the biggest problem is?
There's no
When you're
locator.
when you're at 96,000, when you're at 96%, and you don't know where the rest is.
Yeah, because there's no. As far as I found, there's no indicator to show you on the map where they are. They don't show up. You just have to fucking look for them.
There is something for later, but the issue is it's iffy. It doesn't work well.
Right. But aside from that, like everything else is shown. Like additional spirits, like yokai spirits, are shown. Like Onis and stuff like that. They're pretty fucking cool. Kappas are shown as well. But it's just I feel no fucking motivation to find all of these fucking to help all these spirits, unless it affects the end game. And if that's the case, I'm gonna be exceedingly pissed if it does.
No,
Good.
it doesn't.
Good.
What it only does, it levels you up faster. That's it.
Okay, then that makes sense. The other thing, like the characters are actually quite fascinating, though. I'm really liking KK and Akoko. I can't remember his fucking name. I feel awful. Like this is a buddy cop movie, and I'm actually enjoying that. I'm loving the dynamic between them. Aside from that, I've been playing Metal Gear Survive as well. It's been sitting in my Steam library, and I've been like, okay, I think it's time I play this. But I will say, it's a cash grab. It's a grind fest. The story is non-fucking existent. It's so bare bones in a lot of regards. But I feel it would have been seen in a better light if it was a expansion to Metal Gear Solid 5 instead of its own standalone game.
Wait, you're playing Survive, not Metal Gear Rising? Damn.
Like, I have completed Metal Gear Rising. I've never played and completed Survive. Here's what I'll say though. This is the funny part. Playing the multiplayer is actually fun. Like, I have the same with you about the enemies in your game where they're all the same. They're all the same in this fucking game, and some of them can be really fucking annoying, and the melee can be a bit fucking iffy as far as like using machetes or spears or what have you. And oh my god, the weapon selection is shit. There's no like the gunsmithing and shit for a Metal Gear Solid 5 is just removed, and you're given guns with attachments on it. There's no in-depth like research or anything, which is a damn drag, but it's a survival game. But like I said, the multiplayer, playing co-op and doing rescue and salvage missions with people, that's actually can be fun. Especially when you're just defending the place and you're like, okay, what defenses do we need to put up? But the problem is it's such a grind fest. It's not funny. Aside from that, also been playing Deus Ex Human Revolution. That's been fun when the game isn't running like crap, which it shouldn't do, but relatively old game. It just can't seem to hold a stable frame rate most of the time. Played some Killing Floor 2 today. Still playing Elden Ring, which has been fun. Super Mario 64 I've started as well. And I should be starting Knights of the Old Republic this week. On Thursday. So, that's all good. Alright, let's actually finally move on to this first fucking topic, shall we? Alright. Has DRM gone too far? Now, despite what Pharaoh and Jube want to believe or want to hide it, all of this stems from the recent problems with Xbox's online DRM. Because it sparked a whole different conversation, a lot of fucking autism amongst both sides of the aisle. like a lot of shit flinging about DRM. Oh, PlayStation has DRM, or Xbox is nothing but DRM. Lose your internet, you can't play whatever. Like it's just resulting in a lot of shit flinging. But the core subject is has DRM gone too far as like now being a massive detriment to our gaming experience. So again, this is where it starts. Zero, would you do the honors?
Sure. Give me 1 second. Wait, I'm supposed to be reading something, aren't I?
Yes. I can send you the link if you wish.
Yes, please. Let's
Okay.
just vamp until we get there. You know, how's everybody doing?
They're alright. There you go.
Jube, you trying to see me in this Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm anytime soon?
Sent it.
Good luck with Thamas. They are fucking irritating.
So Amadeus, you have actually had this issue. I got a question then, Amadeus, while Zero's loading up the article. How many games has this affected for you? Has it affected your entire library, or was it only a select amount of games? Because yeah, it is an issue, but it seems like it's not a equal issue amongst everybody. Go ahead, Zero.
Wait.
Hold on, one more thing. To pull it in the send it to my Twitter, Dante, because my Discord is being dumb.
I'm not surprised. Sec. I'm just gonna open up another tab over here so I can send you stuff very quickly. The only reason I'm asking Zero to do this is because I'd rather not be yawning. I just put it in the VGP one. I'd rather not be yawning through all of this, guys, quite frankly. I know some of you are sick of hearing me yawn.
All right, let's get it. Xbox Online DRM under fire as some users left unable to play games for 4th day. This is all according to, as of May 9th, posted by A. Robinson on VGC. On Friday, May 6th, Xbox support team first confirmed that its servers were experiencing a major outage after users complained that they were unable to purchase or launch games or start cloud gaming sessions. On Saturday, the support team claimed it had resolved the issue, only for it to state several hours later that the issue had returned. In total, the support team claimed to have fixed the problem twice this weekend, only for it seemingly to return later. As far as the recent update, it looks like Microsoft says it expects to fully resolve the recent Xbox server outages with a new update in the next coming days. But as we continue, Xbox stated at least 1:21 a.m. What is BST?
Bullshit time. That's what that is.
I don't actually know. I don't know what BST is. Or on Monday, 8:21 ET, Sunday, that European users should no longer be encountering errors when attempting to launch games and start cloud gaming sessions. However, at the time of publishing the story, the replies are full of users claiming they still can't boot up their purchased games. Unsurprisingly, Xbox Online DRM policy has been heavily criticized by users frustrated that they've been left unable to play their purchased games for a 4th day. According to Does It Play, a Twitter account dedicated to testing commercial releases to ensure they work entirely internet free, the majority of Xbox games require an online check before they'll boot. Just quoted as saying they absolutely do not have them on PlayStation or Switch. The account wrote, "Trust us, we've tested them." They added that if PlayStation servers go down tomorrow permanently, every single player game you own will work offline almost permanently, provided console is working and account was linked. There's a tiny subset of titles that will not. Then we've got a couple of just Twitter threads with people sort of complaining or showing their issues. With some saying Xbox needs to fix their DRM problems. Hand waving won't help. Nobody wins, especially Xbox fans, when all the catalog eventually becomes inaccessible. The outages are potentially embarrassing for Xbox, which has historically promoted the importance of game preservation, most significantly with its extensive backwards compatibility program. The company also famously U-turned on a hugely popular plans to require an online connection. Unpopular plans to require online connection to Xbox One. Paris Lilly, a journalist and previous host of an official Xbox event, also criticized Xbox DRM policy in the wake of this weekend server outage. Xbox outages have made it clear that something needs to change with their DRM policy. Games that are downloaded to my console should have a window to be offline and playable without checking in. Hopefully we get some clarity and a solution to avoid these issues again. The downtime again highlights the issue of preservation in the games industry and the challenges developers face keeping their games playable in the future, should crucial services such as Xbox Live ever disappear. Journalist Brittany Vincent argued in the VGC column that games industry needs to increase its efforts for preserving video games before more titles are lost to time. There we go.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, this raises not to. I mean, Omar's going to do it, but to not singular out Xbox, even though this is an Xbox issue. This does raise the massive question as the games industry as a whole. Has DRM gone too far? Because we narrowly avoided this when it came to the Xbox One, and guys like Jube and Pharaoh both said that DRM's no problem. It's always there. Like there's always some form of DRM. The problem is it's this DRM that everybody has a goddamn issue with. This is the final form of that DRM. Where if you do not have an internet connection, it will completely eliminate your online. Now, people argued, even Jube and Pharaoh argue, and there are receipts to this, that everybody has an internet connection. Well, and I did argue, sooner or later, something like this was going to happen, and it will happen again. And this is what comes from DRM. DRM, in my opinion, has gone too far. If you purchase a game and it's linked to your account, you should be able, and it's linked to an account or it's activated on your account, you should be able to play that game offline. Even if your internet goes out, you should not be hindered in your ability to play games. Ever. It's fucking stupid, it's terrible, and this is why I've always been against DRM. It is going to kill the games industry and retro games in general. Like 20, 30 years from now, when we're trying to show our kids or our grandkids, this is what granddad used to play, these are the games of my time, we won't be able to fucking do it. And I know that's a hypothetical, but still, it's a point worth considering that in time, we won't ever be able to play these games unless we purchase them again for backwards compatibility or some other means, or in a cloud service that we're constantly buying, because we're constantly renting them. We're not buying our games anymore, we'll be renting them. That would be the only way we'll be able to play these older games, because they just won't work on consoles that doesn't support the system. Zero, you give us your thoughts on this. You give us your thoughts on this first, being the outsider on the situation, being the only Nintendo guy here. Well, half Nintendo guy.
Reading the article, it highlighted something that I just didn't see as part of the conversation on Twitter, which is, to be expected considering, it's just...
No, all Twitter... sorry to interrupt. I looked at Twitter before we started this. Not only because I looked under the... Because, Twitter was... I'm not going to fucking show it because... What the fuck? But, I was looking under this because people are tagging, PlayStation 5, Xbox, and shit like that. All I'm seeing is a bunch of shit flinging and literal fucking porn on those tags now.
Oh, well, I don't know where the porn came from, but I understand the shit flinging part. Because it was just sort of ha ha ha, and then, of course, people bring up the PlayStation outage from years ago, which to me is a different thing, which also highlights a different problem. So I like that the article really focused on, listen, I think we sort of live in a world where we all understand, for the most part, most people generally seem or are comfortable with the idea that my internet will always be on until it isn't, as Farrell just enlightened us earlier today. And not through any fault of his own, it just went off. Fortunately, he had a workaround for it, but a lot of people don't. So when we think of things like Netflix and all the streaming services, your internet goes out, they're gone. And there's nothing you can do but wait until they come back on, unless you own a bunch of movies or do a bunch of other things. When it comes to the Xbox outage, the preservation part seems to be the key component, more so than the DRM itself. DRM is always going to find a way, unfortunately, to sneak its way into our technology, because it is a rather two-edged sword about what it's supposed to do versus what it's actually doing. But it's interesting because Xbox did sort of walk back their sort of DRM process earlier.
Yeah, back with the PlayStation, back with the Xbox One, with the VCR they revealed, like there was a massive uproar that nobody fucking wanted it because back then we were smart enough to realize, back then everybody was smart enough to realize, no, we don't want this because we know where this is gonna fucking end up. Where now we've become so fucking desensitized by honeyed words by all these executives and big developers and shit like that we're just kind of allowing it to slip by.
And
no. Some people who wanted it. They even defended it.
I mean,
no, that was a small. No. First of all,
that shit for sure. I wanted the family sharing portion of that.
Yeah,
that's what I wanted.
There is a big difference between people who wanted sections of it, like the benefits of it, than the downsides. There were very few people. Omar, the fact that they got rid of it kills your argument that enough people were defending it. Like, a small percentage were defending it. More people didn't want it, and just as many people didn't want it, but wanted the benefits that could possibly come with it.
Yeah. They were going to let us trade in digital games. Like, that was going to be a fucking thing, and it's never going to be a thing now.
Yeah, and so you guys make an excellent point. What happened is when Xbox presented it, they presented it all as just one big package. And there were some good things in the package, but they were like, we don't want this DRM thing, get it away. Because businesses only swing in very big, large swings. They just took everything away. And then slowly but surely, they sort of piecemeal things out to this consumer base, including kind of sneakily bringing DRM back into the picture. Even though it was vehemently said it's not, people don't want it. And part of that just comes with the ease of technology and how just used to things we get.
I wouldn't even just say that. I would also say the fact that everybody got suckered over by honeyed words as well.
I think that's it. Yeah, it is like they're listening to them. It's like, oh, you know what? This isn't really that bad. And then they sort of double down on themselves like, well, in the last 3 years, how many times has my internet really gone out? Pretty much never.
So you're telling me people can think for themselves?
They can think for themselves, but like the whole point of marketing is to influence people. If you don't think people can or can't think for themselves, then either you believe that marketing is a lie, and that people are completely stupid, or like it doesn't work. Like it works, no matter how.
No, here's the thing: for the good that he talks. Like, and this is fucking truth as far as I see it. As much of good he talks, Phil Spencer is a fucking marketing machine.
He's excellent at it. He's excellent at it. And that's his job to be excellent at it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't necessarily fault him in any, like, meaningful way, because it's just video games. So it's like, yeah, like, I expect him to do his job. I don't expect him to be my friend. I certainly hope that, like, he would give me some benefits as an understanding. But it's the same thing with, like, on the Nintendo side with Reggie. He's a very, very nice man and all this other type of stuff, or Iwata or any other Nintendo execs. But, like, their job is to, like, make our company money. And sometimes we're going to do very unpopular things, but that's still probably going to get us, that's going to keep our investors happy. That's going to, every time someone sits up and says what a big company should do, that's them telling you we don't care. Every time you want your Legend of Dragoon remake, every time you want the Switch to do something better, every time you want Xbox to come out with more games, and they don't, they're telling you, I'm just not interested in doing that right now or ever. So, like, you can be mad at it and you can fight with it and use your words to do whatever, or your wallet, or you can sort of move on and accept that for how it is. The video game preservation argument, to circle back to it, that I think is the highlight of this. Because I didn't think about it. Like, that's what it comes down to.
What do you mean?
Well, I've been saying it for years. I've been saying it for absolutely ages that DRM was gonna be one of the stakes in the heart of video game preservation. And what he means,
I've seen it.
The key to it is the video, like the Xbox DRM fiasco. Alpha 4 days sucks. Like, they can fix that. They can recover from that relatively. If PlayStation can, Xbox certainly can.
Okay, I'll get onto that in 2 seconds, because that to me, that is there's similarities, but there's no direct comparison between.
Yeah, when is that PlayStation has this kind of DRM?
Okay, no.
See, but that's not my point. My point is when I said earlier, there are two sets. Yeah, there are two separate things that happen with the PlayStation thing as well as the Xbox thing. For the Xbox side, we're talking about years later, how can I play my old games? I just want to be able to do that. And that's a question for all of us for any of our games. Because right now, most people, particularly a lot of people who are on both sides of the camp, are like, if you really want to play Legend of Dragoon, just boot up your PS1. And it's like, I'm not about to do that. I'm not about to hook it up to my TV that it has fits in the space that doesn't even fit in like my entertainment system anymore, or do all this other stuff to play this game. Just put it online so I can play it.
And realistically, a lot of these new TVs don't even have the ports required.
They don't even have the ports.
On,
so now I have to buy
for some of these older consoles. The ports
so now I got to buy an
exist
extra
anymore.
piece to do this. And maybe the extra piece is only $30, but now I'm going more out of my way, and I'm living in a world that makes things so much more easier for me anyway. Like I can go to like, there are hotel rooms where I never have to leave the room, and I can push everything on my TV and have it come to me. Don't sit there and tell me, oh, all you gotta do is plug this thing in. Like I don't want to. That's really what it comes down to. I just don't want to. Call me lazy, call me entitled, whatever. I don't want to do it, so I'm not gonna do it. So like I'll opt into things like PS Now, and unfortunately, the best way to do it, that's not the best way, it's the best way they're going to sell it to us is with these subscription services.
Yeah, and Nintendo did the same thing with all the games with their online. Now, at least with Nintendo, they sneakily were able to work that in by saying, "Oh no, if this is online, but we're giving you extra benefits for that, but you're effectively selling us a fucking stream service by allowing us to play these older games."
Or selling us a mini version of the NES or SNES with a select thing of games. And like, lo and behold, things like Sony and other companies followed suit.
And we're trash.
Yeah. So it's like, I get that. The other hand of that, at least my perspective on the Sony thing is, here's an issue with an always online world where like the biggest issue with the Sony hack, if you will, was that customer information was taken.
Yes.
And like that's not okay. And that's a problem with an ever increasing online world where I have to register everything to do anything. Like if I have to have an EA account, and I have to log in for like a Konami account, and I have to log in for PlayStation and an Xbox and then Steam. And they're all around the same thing. And let's be honest here, most people are probably going to use the same password and email address for all of these. So if like Sony gets hacked, effectively anything that I have with it is also hacked. Like what Epic and all those types of things, Ubisoft, all of them have these things that require Final Fantasy have these things that require you to like sign into.
Yeah, and they're trying to get around that with two-factor authentication, but even that only goes so far.
Only goes so far.
Two-factor authentication and single sign-on would be a great feature too. They could
Absolutely,
do like a single sign-on.
Yeah, you know, there are certainly ways to protect us, and like, admittedly, you do need to protect yourself. But that's like, to me, that's the comparison that's missing when people keep bringing up the PlayStation thing from 11 years ago, because that's the most important thing that happened here. I don't give a fuck how long PlayStation was offline. Consumer information got taken.
Yes,
and that is number one. That should never happen.
Now the difference is, hold on. Let me just get this out there, because this is the comparison I was seeing when I was scrolling through. Like I said, when I finally got past all the fucking porn. Like people saying, oh, but people, Xbox is down, but you know, fucking PlayStation went down as well. It's like there is similarities, but there is a fundamental difference between the two. When PlayStation when PlayStation went down, it didn't brick my fucking console, and I could still play games offline.
Yeah, these are fanboys talking. Don't pay attention to them.
No, I'm just talking about. This is what I'm talking about the shit flinging on both sides.
Yeah, and you don't necessarily pay attention, but I did think it was interesting just because, again, like that the article highlighted a piece for me that I wasn't even really thinking about. And I think that is the more important thing that comes out of this. It's just more of a question of, are we going further and further away from just being able to simply either press a button or flip a switch to just play an old game?
Yes, we are. No. We are slowly straying further away from the retro
and the days of just picking up that cartridge and blowing into it, popping it on top and hitting the on button. Those days are gone.
Those days have
It's
been
so
gone for
gone.
fucking years. They haven't been using cartridges since the
Those days-
N64.
those-
But even then, they
those
didn't
days
have
are
backwards
gone.
compatibility.
Yeah, and like,
Mm.
listen, I know they're gonna sell
we PlayStation blessed us with backwards compatibility. You know, PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 2, a little bit into PlayStation 3, and then it was like, oh, you're fucked.
Yep.
Yeah, and they said no, and they were like, well, here's now, you can just pay for it this way. Which, like, okay, but like, there just still should be some way I could just buy this game outright, and at any moment in time, move it up from one system to the other, and just keep going.
All right. Well,
Well, that's what that's what they want to do with the NFTs.
well, Pharaoh, you know what? You continue on.
Theoretically,
Yeah, you continue your.
I mean,
thought.
yeah, but I'm saying that's what they theoretically want to do with the NFTs. Like, you would own it, and it wouldn't matter what platform you took it to because you would have the non-fungible token showing your ownership.
You know what? You're right, but the only issue is that PlayStation could already do that now. The PlayStation Store.
I'm not
effectively has, like,
arguing. I'm not
Yeah, no,
arguing. I'm
yeah,
just saying I'm saying that's what they're trying to do.
that's why it pisses me off with the NFT thing, because it's like the companies could just do it. They could just already
You could implement this in such a better way than selling me a fucking piece of fucking shit.
I hate it so much because I know that Xbox, Sony, and PlayStation could just do it.
Right. Well, Pharaoh, what are your thoughts on this? Be as unbiased as possible.
Well, I like I said, I think DRM. I mean, we talk about DRM, and DRM is an issue. But I think people are a little bit too radical who say that you have to get rid of DRM altogether, because there has to be a fine balance. You have to be able to protect the artist rights, but you also have to make sure that the person who makes the purchase and decides to own said product is able to access said product, whenever they choose, however they choose. So, I mean, I think there's a fine balance there. I think in this instance with the whole Xbox thing, I don't think it's a full-on quote-unquote DRM issue. I think whatever happened with that network corrupted, people's licenses, and they weren't able to play. Because not everyone was unable. It wasn't a system-wide thing. Like, people had outages, but people had different levels of outages to where they could play games, and some people just
My
couldn't.
understanding from how this works is the fact that with Xbox, and it's the same thing with an internet connection. It'd be the same thing if your internet went down. Is the Xbox could not there was no grace period, and Xbox could not connect to its servers to be able to verify that you have the license to play this game. And
But you can play offline whenever you want, any other time.
But that's because there's a grace period. Like, this seems like it was on their side that it went down. There was a wall that was stopping their servers from verifying the license.
Something absolutely.
I mean, because I can be offline and I can play, my games whenever on my home Xbox.
People
But-
couldn't even play games that are on CD. That's how bad it was.
Yeah, like I said, some people were definitely affected. Because the game isn't on the CD.
No.
Like,
And that's
the game.
Okay, no. Here's the problem.
The games
with
these
that.
days, games
The
these
disc-
can't
the
fit
problem-
on
the
those
disc is-
Blu-ray discs.
Yeah,
The
the
games
disc
are
is
too
a
big to fit. Yeah,
it's a
the
key.
games are too big to fit on there anymore.
Yeah, that was better.
realistically.
And that's the issue. PlayStation doesn't
So
have
you're
this
saying
issue. Most of the games don't. If I pop in
most of their
God
games
of
do,
War,
because if
I
you
can
pop in this, are you talking about the disc issue? Like, because the game is not going to fit on the disc.
I'm
So like, if
talking
you
about
popped in,
yeah, I'm talking about
if you popped in a disc, I mean, I can't speak for everyone's situation because not everyone's gonna, give out all the information on their situation at all times. Just say, hey, I popped in a disc and it didn't work. But are they gonna highlight that, hey, the game wasn't even downloaded? Like, you got to be like a little bit more specific when you say, if you had the game fully downloaded and then you popped in a disc and it didn't work, then yeah, that's definitely an issue.
no. If I pump in a disc in a game, I can't play it without even feel the need to
Okay,
download
Because
it.
the disc has
if
the
you purchase-
authentication disc. The disc has the
Yes.
authentication code on it.
Yeah, so basically, if you bought a game and it didn't have the actual game on the disc, like the game still has to download to
Yeah,
your.
sometimes it does, it
Yeah,
depends
so
on the
when
game.
you buy a game, it has to download to your system, right? You can't just pop in the disc and it starts playing. Typically, that download comes from online, not from the actual disc, because games have gotten so big that typically that's just how it works with most games. I'm not saying it's an all game thing. But most games,
I think you're like, I mean, because I always joke about like if you want to actually go to the store, grab a game, pop it in your system, and play it almost immediately, just about 100% of the time, only Nintendo will do that.
Yeah, it's a very rare thing. So like, if you had a disc for a game that wasn't downloaded on your console and you popped it in, then no, it wouldn't play. It wouldn't matter what platform you were on if you didn't have the game downloaded prior, and typically you'd have to have an internet connection to do that. In most cases.
But
I'm not saying that that's 100%, but I mean, like popping in a disc isn't going to be a solution if it's not already on your console. Just saying. But yeah, I definitely think it's something that needs to be. I think DRM policies always have to be reviewed, and when something like this happens, that Xbox has to look at it, because to my knowledge, I might be wrong, but at my knowledge, at one point it was like a 30-day thing where you have to re-authenticate every 30 days. I know that's how it is for Game Pass games. You can download and stay offline for 30 days. I don't know if it's like that for. I would assume it'd be the same way for games that you own.
Yeah,
But,
I think it would be the same thing, but I think with physical discs you have a larger grace period considering you have the disc.
Yeah, but just to my understanding, it was like a 30-day thing. Like basically, you can't hand your disc to a friend and like turn your console off, and y'all can share the game past like 60 days. Y'all gotta keep passing it back and forth. It's just like they're just trying to make sure that people aren't ripping off the developer. And I'm fine with that as long as they do it in a proper way. Like as long as everyone wins.
Which
in this situation, everybody didn't win.
Nope, nobody won. All right, Omar, your thoughts?
Yep.
Without going entirely in on Xbox.
No, it's genuinely fascinating that it's like they have fed for it, and they're the one impacted by it, and instead of saying we want better, no, they are okay with it, and it sucks because this is what I don't.
Wait, are you talking about Feral and Jube
Hold
here?
on, so who didn't complain? I mean, like, all right, let's keep, all right, so keep it real, Omar. If no one complained, then no one on the PlayStation side would even know about it. It wouldn't even be a topic. If people were just like, oh, our game's not working this week, we'll just come back next week. No one complains, nobody knows. So you can't say everyone's fine with it.
Exactly. There's a reason they're dropping a system update at some point.
The reason that we're talking about this is because a lot of people complained. Not a bunch of people who didn't own the console started trolling.
No, most Xbox fanboys didn't even complain. They even accepted it.
I would disagree because we wouldn't be having this conversation.
I want to see receipts. I want to see metrics.
Because if there was no complaints, then we wouldn't be talking about it.
I want to see a chart of how you came to this conclusion.
They literally, they just showed him. Just showed him receipts when they literally were talking about the PlayStation outage.
So if you want to stick to the small circle of people that you follow and their personal reactions to the outage,
no, actually, the small group of people that I follow actually complained about it, but all of them are PlayStation fans.
Okay,
and they were the ones that complained about it.
Like, hold on, I got a tweet right here. Says from this dude, I don't know who the fuck this is, but I'm looking at Xbox Live trending. Xbox down for 3 straight days, and I've yet to see any of these xCloud or console gamers scream and yell. It's like an overhyped fan base doesn't even exist. And a dude responded, and this is quite honestly true because it's the truth. Dudes live in a bubble. Xbox Live was trending for 2 days due to outage. Also consider the fact that everyone has not been completely out for 3 straight days. For those who didn't complain, likely was doing other things with their lives while y'all were on Twitter for 72 hours.
Yeah, I mean, like you gotta keep it in perspective. There has to be people complaining. That's why we're talking about it. It can't be just a group of trolls that if they don't own the console, then they don't know that it's an outage.
You don't need to own a
Like-
console.
You do need to own it to know that there's an outage, right? Because someone
No,
has
you
to.
don't.
Someone has to tell you. Someone has to tell you, or you have to own it and find out for yourself, right? So someone complained. Either you own it for yourself and you experienced the issue, or someone
When-
told you about the issue, right? So
when
someone
I-
told you about the issue, they complained about it, right?
When I told you about the Xbox DRM, what did you tell me? You actually defended it and said that.
No, I
it
did not
needed-
defend Xbox DRM.
No,
I said
let me-
DRM is everywhere.
let me
I said
explain.
everything has
Let
DRM.
me
No, you can
explain.
explain all you want, but you're not going to explain what I said.
I'm not talking about last night. I'm talking about when I the first time told you about Xbox DRM, and you said that needed because of what's called quick
Yes,
resume.
DRM is needed. I just said DRM is needed. And I explained
DRM
why
is not
DRM is
needed.
needed to protect it. No, DRM is absolutely needed. DRM is everywhere. Now, DRM needs to be regulated. I've said that several times too. Because, like, if you own, like, for instance, iTunes, if you have an iTunes account and you buy millions of songs and you die and they find out that you die, you can't pass those songs on that you bought. Apple just removes all your licenses and your family members have to buy that music all over again versus if you actually bought the physical disc.
And clearly,
So there's that's an issue with that's a DRM issue, and that's why I said DRM needs regulation. So
Clearly the
I mean,
industry-
but it's absolutely needed because you can't have people getting their intellectual property stolen. So there's a fine balance that has to be found in our tech world when it comes in regards to DRM. I'm always going to say that DRM is needed. Now, am I going to say that every company implements DRM perfectly? No. Like there's like you can
Just look
you
at
can
the
agree
default.
that something needs to be around, but also say that there's definitely things that needs to be changed.
clearly the industry doesn't know how to regulate themselves. Look where they wanted to go to follow through. Mind you, if Xbox got away with it, PlayStation would have done the same thing. And that's what I don't want the industry to head in.
Well, DRM in the future, as people get older and these things start to become more and more prevalent of an issue, they're going to be regulated by governments because you're purchasing something and you should be able to have a long-term ownership of it just as if it was a physical item.
Well, knowing how slow
regulate-
governments are when it comes to digital rights and shit, we're probably going to be waiting
Yeah.
another 50
I said
60
I said
years.
it's gonna happen when we get older. That's what I said. It's gonna
Bitch,
come
I
years
want to
down
be in the
road, but
fucking... We're going to be in the fucking ground by the time they get this shit right.
But your kids
We'll be
will have
close to it.
DRM free world.
We'll be close to it. The thing is, we'll be able to will our DRM games to our kids by the time that time comes. We'll be able to will them off.
I don't see us getting out of it with that one, cause again, when you talk about you want game preservation and then you do this like this, it's crazy. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Alright, Jube, your thoughts? Try not to kill Omar, please. We still need him.
So I'm just gonna say, like I said, I personally wasn't really affected by it. I game share between my Series X and my Series S. My Series X is not my home console for sharing reasons, of course, but I can play all my games on the Series S, like no problem. I do get Pharaoh's point as far as DRM being a thing with digital rights and all that, but it does need to be implemented in a way that's not inconvenient to your consumer. You can protect your shit all you fucking want, as long as it doesn't cause me an issue. You know what I'm saying? Like just looking at even in the comments, I was like, I really wasn't affected by it that much, but just seeing other people, I'm like, it definitely sucks. Period. It's like DRM just in general, if not implemented correctly, just sucks. When it becomes a hindrance, as opposed to doing what it's supposed to do, is garbage. So I'm not mad at people that are upset or mad about it. Like they have every right to be.
Yeah.
But me personally, like I just honestly, I'm kind of glad it happened because now this is giving them a chance to prevent a more long-term problem like down the road as far as preservation issues. I don't know whatever software update they're working on is going to ship out that addresses. I don't know exactly what that's going to entail, or even what that's even going to mean, or what that's going to translate to, and to the consumer. Like I know it's not going to be, oh yeah, they're completely taking DRM away. So I hope nobody's out there thinking that, because that's not going to fucking happen.
Yeah, it's not.
But
the only way that we should know that DRM exists is when we try to do something illegal.
It's not. Yeah, the problem is though is then you also have DRMs like the fucking, and I brought them up earlier. The Nouveau, like that is one of the most hated DRMs out there because it actually
it's a shit implementation. It's a shit implementation.
It's not just that, but it also impacts performance of games.
Yeah, like I said, it's a shit implementation. Like how it works is shit.
Yeah, the problem is a lot of other DRMs are just like that. That's how we know it's there, because it causes so many fucking issues.
And that's the problem. So, like I said, I'm glad people complained, because now, I mean, apparently they're making moves to try to do something about it, which works in our favor. You know what I'm saying? If people stayed quiet, they wouldn't be doing anything about it. Like, this reached enough people to be a problem. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't a 100% out thing. It was enough to be a pain in the ass. Yep. Even from a company's perspective. I know whoever was handling the Xbox support Twitter handle was like probably getting irritated. But like here's hoping that going forward, if you buy something you shouldn't have, like, just because a service is down, that should not prevent you from playing it. Point blank period. I am going to come out and say that. Like, that shouldn't have happened to people. It sucks that it happened to people. And hopefully they correct it. And if they don't, we should use our voices and our money to kind of show our displeasure with it. So, I'm just hoping that some good comes of this from the corporate side of things that should prevent shit like this from going on, period. And hopefully other people will follow suit to prevent things like this from going forward.
Yeah, they can't want to reach 3 billion gamers and
Yeah, you can't do that when everybody thinks your shit's unreliable, or that, there's no point in having this when as soon as it goes down, it's useless. So they cannot have that perception. So hopefully they do everything they can to eliminate that. We don't need no more GT7s. We don't need no more whatever the fuck this was, period. It doesn't need to happen.
Yep, pretty goddamn much, but unfortunately, this is the reality we live in, and it's not going away anytime soon. But you know what is going away? Unfortunately, some of your Halo Infinite fucking challenge slots.
Let me touch on that too. I can go first.
But
good,
But still, it's something, because I haven't actually finished the Halo Infinite first battle pass. So Zero, I sent the link in the Twitter. Would you please?
Okay, this is according to Forbes. Paul Tassi, who I think used to work for Kotaku as well. Halo Infinite Season 2 has launched with a few different issues. Some are like bugs. Some are bugs like XP seeming not to count if you leave last Spartan standing match early. It counts just delayed. Others are 3-4-3 decisions like balancing things separately across casual competitive modes or removing popular skill mechanics. But this is probably the weirdest one they've seen, and are hoping that it's just an oversight. One advantage of the Halo Infinite Battle Pass system is that passes
do not expire.
All right, do not expire. Season 1 may be over, but if you do not get through your Season 1 Battle Pass, you can still keep going until you're done. The problem, now that Season 2 has started, the game is telling players that in order to unlock a 4th challenge slot for Season 1, you need to buy the premium version of Season 2. This is if you've already bought Premium Season 1, which is supposed to unlock that 4th challenge slot for the season. But when the season flipped over, that went away, and players lost that slot, even if they're still working on the Season 1 pass. Given the limited slots already a point of contention for many Halo Infinite players, this feels pretty terrible, and like players are losing a perk they already paid for. They first saw this brought up on Reddit and just went to my own. Okay, let me just rephrase. I'm reading this as the author, so when I say it is the author's words, not mine. So I first saw this brought up on Reddit and just went to my own account and confirmed it myself. Despite buying Season 1 Premium, I've lost a challenge slot for that season without buying a Season 2 Premium. I simply cannot imagine this is intentional, as if so, it is terrible. It is a terrible way to goad people into purchasing Season 2. My guess is that there was some sort of mix-up with the Battle Pass progress carryover, given that the game is now juggling 2 seasons for the first time, and Season 1 perks are registering in Season 2. Or something like that. But as of yet, I have not seen 343 address this specific issue with their hands full with so many other complaints. Seems like there's probably going to be a patch or hotfix in Season 2 here to address many of the current issues happening with Lone Wolves, and I do wonder if this is going to make the list. I agree with other players that the entire challenge progressive system is probably doing more to hurt the game than to help it, but 343 seems married to it, along with his bevy of challenge swaps meant to monetize some of that annoyance. So if you didn't finish Season 1 yet, know that this is likely waiting for you when you log in. Hopefully, this will be resolved and it was not a call that was made on purpose, which could be somewhat unsettling.
That is fucking stupid. That is just straight up fucking stupid.
For sure.
Like, first of all, like, not only are you limiting people because you're doing it with the fucking challenges, but then you're locking a slot behind the premium. But then you're taking away that premium until people buy the premium for Season 2.
If they hadn't finished.
Yeah, if they hadn't finished. That's scummy. That's fucking scummy. If this is not an oversight, then fuck 343. More than
It's oversight. They've already announced it.
Oh, really? I need to send me that announcement so I can bring it up on screen.
Yeah, they said they're releasing a patch for it. Yeah, they've already said they're releasing a patch.
So it is an oversight. Either way, how the fuck do you allow an oversight like that to come through?
I don't know how you allow it, but like I can kind of get how it works.
The problem
how that gets past QA is the issue here.
Here's the problem. The article turns around and says that this is the first time the game is, obviously balancing 2 battle passes, right? Problem is, it's not 343's first foray into multiple battle passes running simultaneously. Does no one remember Halo Master Chief Collection? That had multiple battle passes running simultaneously as well.
But progression in MCC is also very different to how this works. So you can't. It's apples and oranges.
Apples and oranges, still, they're both running the same way, but it's really goddamn annoying that this is happening.
It is annoying that this is happening. Like I feel like, so I got the premium for the first season, so that entitles you to 4 slots instead of 3, which is great. But I think when the switchover happens, the game is checking for premium, but it's not retroactively checking for Season 1 premium. So it's like, to the game, even though you're switching battle passes, it still thinks, oh, you don't have Season 2 purchase, so you don't get this slot. Like it's a weird logic thing. Like I said, I can get how it can happen, but it still shouldn't have made it out of QA.
Yeah.
So Jubei, as a person who, like, you and I play Destiny, we've been around since it started, and we clearly understand their woes of Battle Pass and all the BS.
Oh yeah.
Like,
you remember when Battle Pass was shitty?
Yeah, like just now it feels like Destiny's fine. Bungie's finally like kinda got it right. It's still not perfect, but kinda got it right. Why can't 343 seem to get it right?
That is a management thing. You know how I feel about people that work for 343, man.
Oh no, please tell us how you really feel.
With these live service games, though, it typically takes a year and a half for these things really to run smoothly.
No. When you have when you have a working formula, you just copy from it, and that's it.
You can copy from it, but you can't copy the technology and the logic on the back end and the code goes by it. So you can see it. You don't fucking have access to the fucking source code. It's not as simple as copying something. Why do you think nobody else has?
Most live service games don't hit the ground running.
Hold on.
You've seen it. How come nobody else has a fucking Nemesis engine? Because you've seen it, but you can't fucking copy it because you don't have the code. You don't have the source code.
So you tell me
So-
they don't know, they didn't know about this when they released the. You don't think they test everything before release it?
Honestly,
Okay,
Not
so
just
how many
did
how many
that
live
shit-
service games released this year? Like big, like AAA live service games.
let me check.
And two, do you think that a 343 internal employee would not have a battle pass already maxed out when they're testing season 2? Come on now.
I guess also the question could just fall into like, let's say the employee did raise it up. If management was like, okay, but the game's like scheduled, the season's scheduled to drop, so like, we'll deal with that later.
Yeah, we don't
The
know.
thing
that.
is, I don't think that would be the case because I think you could get ahead of it if that's the case. Like if you say, "Hey, we're releasing this season 2 pass, but we did identify a glitch.
Okay.
We plan on releasing the patch in the following week."
So
Yeah,
here's
You kind
the
of, you
problem.
kind of
with-
avoid the bad press.
Here's the problem with the logic of live service games. Are we talking about games that are ongoing, or are we talking about they have to have been released in the last 12 months?
Yeah, I'm talking about just 12 months. You know,
Okay.
games that you have to buy like battle passes and stuff.
Oh,
for, you
Call
know,
of Duty Vanguard was definitely in the last 12 months. Give me a second.
that release shitty.
Yep.
It did. Warzone would be the live.
Warzone's an ongoing one, and he said no ongoing
Yeah.
one. I'm gonna keep looking. Go ahead. Continue with this conversation.
Battlefield, Call of Duty.
Oh, Battlefield 2042. It's an expansion,
Release
but I
shitty.
still count it. Final Fantasy 14. The new expansion dropped in the last 12 months.
Yeah,
But
was
they
good.
also they struggled. They've got it right now. But
Oh,
they
no,
absolutely
they struggled because they had to shut the whole fucking thing down. But to be fair, that was a server overload just from the volume of fucking people that were playing it.
I'm talking about when 14 first came out and it was hot fucking trash.
Oh no, I'm talking. No. Pharaoh said specifically live service games that came out in the last 12 months.
Yeah, 'cause I don't want to go too far back.
Yeah, that's why I said in the last 12 months. Now, even though it's an expansion, it is such a big part of it. I would count the Final Fantasy 14 expansion that recently came out in the last 12 months. The one that crashed their fucking servers because they didn't expect that volume of people. It's hard to look for like live service game releases because they kind of sneak out there. Isn't the beta?
We're just
for
looking at the
Overwatch-
AAA ones.
Yeah, isn't
just AAA.
Yeah, Overwatch 2 just got its beta, didn't it?
Overwatch 2. We might.
Overwatch is
let-
one, so I'm
Let's
watching.
let's just save Overwatch 2 for maybe next week. We can bring that up maybe
Okay.
next week. 'cause
But
But in general, you look at these live service games. They
Genshin
generally
Impact.
don't release. They don't release very well.
Genshin Impact
in their first
really-
year.
So
I
Pharaoh,
mean,
I agree with you on that. I guess my question is, but from a technical standpoint, I can understand because there's just so many plates to spin in the air. It is more of a life service thing that I've always really confused about. Like, I think, famously, Anthem was like, we can't talk about Destiny. And
yeah.
my question was like, why? You see all the issues. What you want to do is avoid everything that Destiny's doing. Like copy their good ideas without doing that. I'm, not the technology, and I like the season pass thing. That can be kind of weird. But even before then, the reason why it's weird is because Halo sold people on the idea that, listen, guys, you don't have to like stay up with the grind like all these other battle passes. Just play whenever you're comfortable. Perfectly fine.
You see, I feel like a studio like Bungie has an edge because they are a live service studio. Like that's literally all they do. Versus, like some of these other studios, that's not necessarily all that they do. They just might make a live service game. So it takes them a little bit long. It takes them longer when it's not just the only thing that they focus on. Like Destiny kind of hits the ground running. They're kind of the outlier in all of this. But everyone else is kind of like, it's going to be a year, maybe a year and a half before your game is like really rocking and rolling if you're a live service game.
Pretty goddamn much.
I mean, I agree. It's just like, there are a lot of things wrong with the Division, but like it felt fine. Like the progression to end game felt perfect. Like it's fun to do. Third round. Once I sort of hit the end game for the Division 1, I was like, there's really nothing to do. They tried to spice it up with the raid coming. The raid came in Division 2. So like same thing in Division 2. Was that 1?
I think some raids came in the Division 1 near the end of it. Because I famously turn around and keep saying that the Division 1 is a great game, and it became a great game by the time Division 2 came out.
Yeah, like it was fine, and I don't know, just like there's always certain things that I look at and it's like, well, how don't you get this? Like for 343, it's just why is it's great that your battle pass is basically forever, but then why does it feel like just playing the game punishes you when that shouldn't be the case? Right, like we've already seen, like Destiny had dealt with this, where people are like, what's the point of doing any of these activities because we're not getting anything for them? So
Bro,
like we're just
like,
stuck forever here.
I think live service games are the most like challenging thing to ask a developer to do. Like you're basically saying, let's release this game incomplete and create incentive along the way for people to stay and play until our game gets far enough along that it's kind of good.
You want to know the biggest hindrance to live service games that do these battle pass things? They require too much attention than one person can give. So, and they try and reinventing the wheel. Instead of saying, okay, you want all this cool... I'll use Call of Duty and Halo Infinite as an example. So, with Call of Duty, you would literally be spending more than a month in total, or actually less than a month, probably about 20 days, 25 days, trying to do a battle pass. And that's doing it raw. Like, I'm not talking adding boosters or anything like that. I'm talking raw. Instead of giving us one where the progression feels natural and we're getting a good amount of XP for the battle pass, they fucking artificially stifle it so that after a certain amount of time, or at a certain point, it slows down to a fucking crawl. When they've already got our money, they don't need to do that. They've already got our money, but they keep doing it. And then you've also got ones like 343, where instead of just allowing us to gain XP for like playing in matches and doing well, and maybe throwing a challenge here or there, but instead of just playing well, enjoying the game and playing it, they got to reinvent the wheel by having it as a challenge-based thing. By the more challenges you play, the more XP you get. Instead of it just being,
I think
even when it just needs to be simple.
There's a finite, which is the main fucking issue for me. There's 14 challenges a week. Once those are done, you're stuck for a whole week.
Yeah, like the problem is like I'm not joking. Battle passes would leave a little bit of a lesser taste in my mouth if they didn't demand so much of my fucking attention. For example, like I said, with Call of Duty, after a certain point, I could spend a whole month on a battle pass, and I'll get it done probably like 3-4 days before it's done, before the season is done, and I'll be burnt out. I'll be like, I've got other games I want to play. I have a life I want to fucking live. Like, you already got my money for the battle pass. I am not giving you more of my money to artificially buy some fucking currency just to speed this along. Let me complete it at my own pace. Give me XP that is fucking reasonable. Don't try and reinvent the wheel by giving me just these bullshit challenges that just run out at a certain point. Like, it's so simple, but they just keep trying to fuck us. Continue. In fact, you know what, Jube, I want to move on to you. Your thoughts on this. You're the bigger Halo player here.
Yeah. Like I said, I think it's an oversight, to be honest. Sucks. I gave my feelings about how their seasons are working for me. My biggest thing is, like I said, if you're gonna limit content like that, then you gotta do something for those of us that like to grind it out. Because like the challenges that they do give, it's not that hard. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, unless you're just bad at the game, like if you're just not good, I can see where it can be hard. Like getting 10 assists, like that's not fucking hard. Just shoot somebody in the fucking toe right before somebody kills them. Like it's not hard.
No.
getting like back smacks. Like that's a little bit harder because I mean everybody has radar. You kind of have to actively play that way. It also pigeonholes you into playing a certain way and not actually playing the game. Like even in like in objective based modes and shit, you're not doing the objective because you're too busy. Oh, I need to go get kills with this very specific gun, 12 times or whatever the fuck the challenge is.
Huge,
Like,
huge issue.
it's like yeah. It's one of those things where it's like you are now dictating how to play this game instead of me playing it and getting rewarded for either doing well or just doing whatever. Like in a way, like the Call of Duty challenge system, you get rewarded for pretty much anything you can fucking do. Like all their challenges are set up, fucking getting headshots, reload, like killing somebody after reload, like things that people are going to naturally do anyway, without being forced into a particular playstyle to specifically do that, unless they are specifically trying to level up that challenge for a cosmetic or something.
Unfortunately, the output that they give for that is a fucking pittance.
Yeah, that's the main issue. But it's I don't know how 343 fixes this. To be honest, I just don't.
Get rid of the fucking challenge system for one.
They could.
But they won't.
Like I said, there's parts of the challenge system I like. When it comes to like the events and stuff, I like that stuff. It's cool.
No, you can have some of it, but to have your whole fucking system based around it.
That can't be the only thing. It cannot be the only thing. Like, you still need performance-based XP game. Or even give it its own fucking mode. If people want to just grind XP like that and grind their battle pass, like, give us the option to fucking do that. Like, it sucks that I have to dictate, okay, fuck, now I gotta get fucking 10 plasma carbine kills, and now I'm going to spend the entire fucking game looking for that specific gun, just trying to do that, just so I can get the XP from it, because win or lose, I'm going to get 50 or 100 XP from this fucking match.
Yep.
Like, it doesn't matter if I go 20-4 or 1-20. It doesn't fucking matter. The payout is going to be fucking the same once the match ends, unless I'm doing challenges. So they need to find a way where the challenges part is still there, but you aren't dictating how I can play your game, to have fun and actually get progression. Because at that point, the progression isn't on me. It's dictated by the arbitrary thing you're asking me to do that I have to do repeatedly. Because I can't do it all in one match, because it's just not going to fucking happen. And it just becomes like so much of a slog. Like, that's why it becomes so monotonous to me. That's why I get through it in a day. You know what I'm saying? Like, I look up and it's like, oh, there's no more challenges left.
Fuck.
Because that's all I'm focused on chasing. It's not natural to me at all. Like, it's just targeted. Yep, I'm gonna use a sidekick for the next 10 games until I get this shit. Okay, cool. Moving on. I'm gonna do this. It's.
Do you
And
think
then
they
you
want to
don't want to go back to the fucking game until there's more challenges to do. It's like, I don't get shit for playing.
Do you think they want to cater to the casual?
I wouldn't even say it's catering to the casuals, because casuals are complaining that these challenges are too fucking hard. So,
no.
I mean, they're caving now and making shit easier, but I don't know if that's going to be a good or bad thing. But because I'm already did it. The event challenges that they're making easier, I finished that, and they were like, "Oh, this is spread off across 2 weeks." Like it wasn't going to come close to that shit.
Anybody?
It's like, and then they artificially extend like the event challenges, so you'll have like regular weekly challenges that are part of the event, and then here's one challenge for the event, and then 3 more regular events, and then here's one, and you have to go through them in order. Like, it's not even random. It's not even randomized. There's a set order. You can see exactly what's coming up, and you just like at some point I'm like, okay, how do I get rid of those weekly so I get more of the challenge or more of the event challenges to come up, so I can just start knocking those out. Like it just sucks. Like I feel like I'm being controlled. Like I feel like I'm not playing it how I want to play. I'm playing it how I'm being told to play it, and that just kind of sucks the fun out of it for me.
Yeah. Has anybody else got anything they want to add to this?
It's coming. It shouldn't happen. I said it. Division exists. Destiny exists. If it's not broke, then don't fix it. Why trying to invent the wheel when there's already something that works? And especially if you're gonna alienate your fan base like that, it it comes over as of 343 is some indie studios that's an amateur studio. This doesn't seem to be a studio like coming from a big company like Microsoft. I expect this type of practice from a studio like, for example, uh, you name it, any indie studio that wanna get some quick bucks and stuff like that from them. But from Microsoft, come on, do better.
Enough. Now, as far as doing better,
It's a management thing with 343, 100%.
Alright.
It's like it's poorly managed.
The boss stopped with the head of the studio. If you
Yes.
don't, then if it's a management thing, then where is the leadership in Xbox entirely? Where is their mentality then?
It's a management thing, but it's not necessarily fucking up their money yet. You see what I'm saying? When it starts fucking up the money, that's probably when they're going to start taking it more seriously. But it's a management thing.
Yeah.
So what you're telling me is that.
Go in on fucking 343 management. Like it's.
So
it
what you're
sucks.
telling me is they're keeping a blind eye on. Gotcha.
Putting
I
words
mean,
in
that's
his mouth.
what
Gotta
it
love
seems
it.
like. Because I'm like, if it was me running a fucking company, like I'm like, y'all just can't keep having these fuck ups, yo. Like a head's got to roll. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got people departing projects. Like, no, I want public executions for people at some point.
Decapitation!
Well,
Alright, well, we got to move on to the last subject. Zero, I sent you the article because speaking of heads rolling, apparently Square's lost 200 million. Holy shit. It's almost like some handsome white devil mentioned that they most likely lost 200 million on the Marvel deal. Like, not too long ago.
Was that Channing Tatum?
Probably. It was somebody young, handsome, most likely got a lot of facial hair.
it was actually two of you. It was a dashing white lad and Pharaoh. Y'all both did that shit.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Well, hold on. With this news of the 200 million, can we be specific? Because I know that Embracer Group bought the debt along with the deal. So this is just literally Avengers money.
This is Marvel money. Marvel money, including Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy. We'll read
Yeah, but
Zero's gonna read it now.
Embracer bought that debt, right?
Studio sold for like 100 mil, if that's the case. That sucks.
Here's the thing: you gotta remember, this was before him.
No, they bought the studios. They bought the studios for 300 million. Yeah. Like that's the announce of the purchase, but they purchased the debt separately.
They bought this licensing before the sale. Like this is the loss from those games.
Okay.
Like cost, loss of cost.
That's what I was trying to figure out. That's what I was trying to.
Yeah, no. This has got
segment because Embracer Group bought the debt.
I don't think this is a debt that's incurred. I don't think this is a debt. This is something they already paid for and are now literally paying for it. Zero, if you would not mind.
All right. According to Game Rant, I cannot say his name, Philip Galovic. Square Enix.
I think you did well then. Actually, well done. I think you got that.
Nice.
Gail. Gail Kovic. Yeah, Gail. It's Gail Kovic.
Oh, like Gail Kovic.
Yeah.
Duh.
Gail Kovic.
Square Enix may have lost $2 million on Marvel games. According to sources, Square Enix seems to have lost millions of dollars on the productions of Marvel's Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy. Square Enix has been the subject of much theory crafting as of late, thanks primarily to the fact that it has now sold off 3 of its major Western game development studios and their related and well-regarded intellectual properties to Embracer Group. The company hasn't clarified the situation in detail either, adding even more fuel to the discussion surrounding the deal. New information about Square Enix continues to come out, however, and according to MST Financial, the publisher has lost $200 million in between its 2 Marvel releases. This paints a reasonably clear picture as to why Square Enix would sell off both Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal, who worked on Marvel's Avengers and Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, respectively. Namely, while Guardians of the Galaxy found critical acclaim, it seems that the less favorably viewed Avengers dragged it down in the grand scheme of things. MST's financial analysis of the situation has shown that the company has lost hundreds of millions of dollars on the production and marketing of these games, which seem to have been a tough pill for Square Enix to swallow. Sure enough, Guardians is building its audience via Game Pass now, but that seems to be too little too late to have made the difference, as both properties are now sold off to Embracer Group. Now that Embracer has acquired Square Enix Western Studios, the company can focus on projects that seem to make more sense for it, such as Forspoken and the Final Fantasy franchise. Though it is also worth pointing out that Square is just retaining the rights to Outriders, Just Cause, and Life is Strange, which implies that these IPs have historically been comparatively more successful than the other two Marvel games in question. One of the theories being thrown around is that the publisher might be looking to experiment with blockchain technology to a greater degree, as the CEO of Square Enix expressed interest in NFTs, as well as the dedicated play-to-earn games. Jesus. Now that it's clear that the company lost a substantial amount of money banking on Marvel IPs, this idea might not be too far-fetched after all. In related news, Marvel's Avengers started 2022 rather poorly, and there's currently no telling whether Embracer Group will want to continue updating the game's widely criticized live service model in the first place. The new publisher could always try to revamp the game, but that's a major investment that may or may not pay off in the end. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, at least, won't be entangled in these issues, as it's a regular narratively focused action game with no real live service elements. Unfortunate.
Yeah. As we have said a number of times, Omar said it, I've said it, I'm pretty sure a couple of people have said it. Guardians fucking Avengers fucking killed Guardians' chances. Absolutely. It murdered it.
Enix did that well.
Like, we need to call homicide because there is a fucking murder.
You remember at the reveal, like we were like, this looks this looks awful, and then it turned and it was just because Avengers had left such a bad taste in our mouth. It was like, we came from Avengers, and then it's like, we got this jank. It didn't come out as jank, but that's what they showed. Like, who the fuck said that was okay? Like,
yeah,
if it didn't, I think a bigger part of it is, I think if it didn't show as janky as it did and turn some people off that were already burned by Avengers, it would have been better.
It would have been better, but I think at that point people were just like, we're fucking done. We're done. Like, even I'd say the jank didn't help because, again, Zero agrees with me. At this point, we believe the first footage they showed off was the Switch version. Because that game. Because here's the thing.
Wait, are you real?
Yeah, me and Zero. Like I said during the reveal of it, bro, this looks like the fucking Switch version. And later on, Zero turned around and said to me, "I think you're right. That's the Switch."
I remember. Hold up. I remember seeing the PlayStation button prompt.
No, this is the very first release. The very first footage that came out during E3, I think.
Because I think the first footage didn't show any prompt.
I don't recall any prompts. I'd have to go back and look.
I think.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and look. But yeah, I'll agree. It didn't show well, but I ended up buying the game after recommendations from Omar and a couple of other people. Dude, that game, his thing on PC, that game, with its art style, that game is fucking gorgeous.
Amazing, eh?
Like, the detail on Rocket is kind of fucking insane. I'm actually going to bring up my Let's Play of it right now, just to...
It's on console, too. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like,
and the voice acting...
The game is great. It looks lovely.
And the characters are fun and believable, especially the group dynamic.
Oh, yeah. Like, here you go. Here's some footage for you guys so you can see, like they look fucking amazing. I also love the little touches as well of the different costumes you can get. As soon as I got Groot's Halloween dark version, oh my god, I put that on because it looks so good. The characterization of them, you're right. Like, Drax is such a deep character in this game. It's unbelievable, especially when you learn about the markings on his body, what they really mean. Like, they're in his culture, the markings on his body, they're scarrings. And his people scar their bodies with their stories, with milestones of their lives. Like when they get married, when they have kids, like when they fight a huge battle and win. Like, they mark themselves like, it's like, oh my god, these characters are so fascinating. But yeah, no, Avengers, I said it, like, they must have spent like a grand total of 200 million on the Marvel thing as a whole. And it's ridiculous that I ended up being correct on that. But also, I'm not surprised, because it is me and I'm always right. But that's besides the point.
So why not?
They sunk more money into the Avengers than they should have. They should not.
But
that game was as much as people say, oh, but like we had Black Panther and Hawkeye coming in. Like it's like, no, that game was DOA when it came out. Black Panther was not gonna fucking save it. Hawkeye was not gonna fucking save it. Spider-Man wasn't gonna save it. Nothing was saving that game. It was fucking DOA. Like, and Guardians suffered. And Guardians, unfortunately, is collateral damage in this regard, which is fucking unfortunate. Because Guardians of the Galaxy is the superior game. And oh my god, a single-player game is the superior game compared to a fucking live service game? Who'd have thunk it?
I fucking love Guardian. Like, I am not even a comic person that much. Like, I never read any comic Guardian of the Galaxy, and I fell in love with the character, dude. And they even I don't know where you are, but there are some shit they say that genuinely made me want to check out the comic, cause especially the one with the 2 antenna on her head.
Oh, Mantis.
She said some funky stuff in my visit with her, and I can't wait for a part 2 of this game.
If we ever get it. If we ever fucking get it.
So I want to say, where the fuck is, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Is this game came, and I'm not talking about Guardian, I'm talking about Avenger. You had the blueprint, Batman Arkham Knight and Marvel Spider-Man for PlayStation 4. All you needed to do is copy that, tweak it, give it the Avenger flair. Can you imagine if we had an Avenger on the level of Guardian of the Galaxy? How awesome would it have been?
I think I would have blown a nut.
They would have made 2 million, 4 million of it.
Well, they would have sold 2 million, 4 million.
Well, yeah. My question, and I will give it to someone else, is 2 things. One, shout out to a friend of mine and one of my co-hosts. He said something very interesting. It's a theory of him, but it makes sense in a way. That one of the reasons why Square sold their Western division is because if PlayStation were to buy them, then they're not gonna get scrutinized by the Western what's called Western world. No. Like, for example, the FTC of not.
Okay,
no, that's not.
No, because they were.
That's not true. Because
1%.
Because here's the reason. Because they're not even American studios. Like that kind of kills your argument. Like Crystal Dynamic. Hold on, Crystal Dynamic. I don't even think is an American studio. I'm gonna quickly look this up, but I'm sure.
I think they're Canadian.
Okay, no, they're okay. Yeah, no, they are American. Crystal Dynamic is American, but IDOS, I know for a fucking IDOS isn't American. They're Canadian. So no, that in my opinion, that theory holds no weight because they'd only be technically. Because first of all, Square Enix is a Japanese company. Just because they hold vested interests inside the United States with one studio doesn't mean they'd be under the massive scrutiny of the US government. They'd only be purchasing one studio in the acquisition. They wouldn't be buying like Activision Blizzard or Bethesda. They wouldn't be buying like a ton of American studios. They'd only be buying like one.
One second.
Hold on. I still stand by my theory that they're selling these studios off so they can focus. So they can use this money as capital to invest in getting NFTs off the ground, and if this fails, then they'll sell it. Then they'll sell themselves to another studio. They'll sell themselves out.
Nate, can you please explain the series? Then I didn't explain it fully well. Then, while he explains it, we'll go to someone else, and we'll get back to it.
Yeah, if you explain in chat, I want Zero Spot.
I don't know. I guess I'll have to go on record saying like I didn't hate the Avengers game.
Heresy! Get
Boo!
out of there!
Boo!
Yeah.
Block him for speaking. Mute him. Kick him out.
Zero boo.
Yeah, boo!
But here's why I didn't hate it partially for some of the same reasons why I really like Guardians. Like as a huge comic fan, that's one of the last, not last, but that's a sort of an original American art form here. Like nobody else is doing them but us. And so like we spent all of this time with the Marvel has basically shaped people's view on who these characters are, what they do, and what they're all about. But truth be told, these characters are so very many things. They exist in so many different spaces. Like there are various Star-Lords, there are various iterations of Rocket, Groot, the team, everybody. So like it's awesome that people get introduced to the Guardians of the Galaxy who are a bit closer to their comic book counterparts, and see how they are, and like that they're kind of similar to the MCU versions, but like Mantis is a very different.
Oh, she kicks ass.
Yeah, while Drax is excellent in both, at least in the game, he gets a little bit more pathos because when you learn about his backstory and how things happen.
Because obviously in a video game, you have more time to be able to flesh out that kind of thing than in a movie that has to focus around
the bigger story at large. Yeah, and the bigger story. All movies served up to get to the Infinity War saga. But I thought the same thing for the Avengers, right? Like first and foremost, I'm happy. I'm rooting for everybody Brown here, so like I'm happy to see Kamala in a game because I've always kind of liked her and I thought she was kind of cool.
I thought she was blind as fuck, but that's me.
I get it. I understand. And like I think the game would have probably been better served more focused on her and less the rebuilding of the Avengers.
That's where I disagree. That's where I disagree. But go ahead.
Yeah. So, but even still, if for a lot of people, that's the first time they've seen this character. Like they didn't know who Kamala Khan was.
There's a reason.
And like, I mean, reason or not, like, put it easier. There's a lot of people who didn't know who Miles Morales was until he showed up in either Into the Spider-Verse. And if for some reason you were under rock and missed Into the Spider-Verse, then it's Spider-Man, the video game, Spider-Man Miles Morales.
That's where
I think we're too very much into that space. So of course we would know who Miles is. Like I remember when he originally came, but it's the similar thing for like Harley Quinn and Deadpool. Both of these characters have been around for decades, but most people are just getting introduced to them. Harley Quinn came from the 90s Batman series.
Animated series, yeah.
But like most people will probably now associate Harley Quinn as Margot Robbie. And that's not it's not a bad thing, it's just a thing. In the same way that like Deadpool has also been around since the 90s, but most people are like, oh yeah, I know Deadpool, like that's the Ryan Reynolds guy. And it's like, well, yes, he is, but he's been here for like decades before. Like, oh really? What does he do since then? Like, what do you mean? Like, did he have a popular TV show on Fox Kids? Like, no.
No, he was.
But I don't really know him.
He was part of a popular Fox TV show. Was it Ultimate Spider-Man or The Amazing Spider-Man?
Yeah, he's shown up in various Spider-Mans and honestly various X-Men and other ones as well. So like to me, I'm happy. I like the idea that this Avengers game is introducing new people to a new version of the Avengers or just the Avengers in general. And like they get to know who they are, and hopefully like they might be more interested to learn about who they are further, and be a movie, be a comic, be it anything. I just think the game does not celebrate the source material in the way it should.
See, my problem with Avengers, down to a point, is first of all, I would say the one thing it handled well was MODOK. The introduction of MODOK. I feel like that was a good way, and they did handle it decently. I felt like that was fine. The problem is none of the Avengers are likable in that game. And your quote-unquote protagonist is bland as a motherfucker. Doesn't matter that nobody knows her. No one's going to care about her if she's bland. You didn't really give her much of a personality outside of squeeing Fango.
Yep.
That's the problem.
I feel like that's more in the teams because I feel like the team that made Guardians actually did their research and like, you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
like
you are fucking right.
Oh,
Especially
yeah,
with the
they
amount of
more-
costumes. The lore in that is ridiculous.
Yeah, bro, like they understood the assignment and did the necessary research to understand what it take to make that game feel like it felt. And we didn't get that same love with Great Value Avengers.
No.
Like at all.
And
I agree. Yeah, I agree with that because, like, you know, how Destiny does a better job of expanding a lore that it just seems to be making up on the spot.
Exactly, and then
that
half of that
shit-
shit you have to look
Yes,
into like
the
articles
grandma.
and on your phone.
Yeah, and some of that you have to, and that's the worst part. Like to quote Angry Joe when he reviewed Destiny, because I do agree with him on this. The problem with the problem with Destiny, though, in that regard, is the lore outshines the fucking game itself. When you find out that the who are those big giant armored motherfuckers who became the actual threat in 2? What were they called again?
The Cabal.
The Cabal.
The Cabal.
When you find out that the Cabal literally fucking launch moons at planets, you're like, why can't I see this shit? This sounds so fucking cool. Why can't I have a mission where I've got to go and stop the Cabal from literally launching Earth's moon into the fucking planet?
Yeah, this game needed to be bigger, if I may.
No, Avengers needed to be smaller. That's the problem. Avengers needed to be smaller, and it needed to be more linear. Like, it needed to be a singular focus story game instead of go to this location and beat up a bunch of enemies.
out that
grab
way.
objects.
By the way, I just want to say...
Go ahead, Omar, and I'll go.
Yeah, I just want to read what Innate was saying because he explained it better than I. So, when it comes to the theory, it makes them a lighter company to acquire financially and leaves the bar PlayStation actually needs from them, instead being bloated. As a bonus, a much smaller company, gamers less scrutiny.
Garners. Garners less scrutiny.
Also, financially means the initial purchase and running costs once they are on board. The thing about FTC that people are missing is them saying that they are looking into a deal doesn't mean they can stop it if they have to have a valid reason to claim it, violate antitrust. And when it comes to PlayStation acquiring Square in their state, and they don't have anything that show it violates that.
Well, it's not just that. Like I said, they're not an American company, so that really doesn't affect them because Square is a private company. They're not a publicly traded company, for one. And like I said, their headquarters.
What about PlayStation? Because they
PlayStation-
moved their studio to their headquarters to.
Again, this is an
USA.
acquisition. This would lean more into Japan's side of financing because again, they're purchasing a Japanese company more than an American company. Like America only gives a shit about that. America only gives a shit about that when it's a big American company trying to gobble up another American company. They don't give a shit if it's an American-based company trying to eat up companies from other countries. They really don't give a shit about that. They've proven that. Alright? The problem, and like I said, the problem is the fact that they got lowballed on the price for all the studios and IPs that they sold. The fact that they actually kept on as many IPs as we thought they did, because the article mentioned 3 major IPs they actually carried on, and now you've got less studios to work on those IPs. To me, doesn't initially sound like they want to be bought. Like to me, it sounds like they're just keeping those in the back pocket for other times because they do have other Western studios still in their back pocket. They just sold off the 2 most prevalent ones. For me, it makes more sense that they're using the capital they've gotten from this purchase to invest in NFTs, and that's what they're banking the farm on. And if that fails, then I feel like they'll be up for purchase. Because it's not a question of if it fails, it's when this fails.
Oh yeah, when? Yeah, I hope it still.
And I guess, you know, I think, to be honest, Guardians is the only big loss here, and hopefully, Embracer Group understands what went wrong with Guardians, and like either continues it or does something else in the vein of it. Like, it doesn't have to be Guardians. Like, it could be any other Marvel superhero team you want.
Exactly,
You know?
and I would trust them with it because
Because
of what they did. I'd be okay with it. Just like you trust Insomniac with Wolverine. We haven't seen shit about it, but I know it's gonna be fire.
Yeah,
like, I know it's gonna be fire. Like, I'm not stupid.
Yeah. If anything, what they need to do is they need, in my opinion, if they really want to continue with this Marvel thing, quite as much as I like Guardians 1, either they do a complete 180 with an Avengers 2 or they reboot, or they soft reboot. Like, we ignore the Avengers, Guardians is still canon, and now we start on some other things and make a Marvel gaming universe. The MGU.
You haven't finished Marvel Guardian, right?
No, I've not finished Guardians.
Okay, I will not say anything then.
One of the biggest things holding up that deal right now with the Embracer Group is the Disney licenses.
Yep.
They have to negotiate that sale with Disney too.
They do. I'm probably gonna get beat the fuck up for saying this, but
you are,
I feel Avengers should have been episodic. I think that would have.
I'm gonna mute him.
I think. Don't mute me. I feel like it should have been episodic, just because it wouldn't have been trying to do too much. Like, you could have had like a single player experience. Like,
I'm gonna back you up on this, Juve. I'm gonna back you up on this. I'm gonna back him up because I think he's right, because the little mini DLCs felt like episodes.
Yeah,
kind of were pretty solid.
Yeah, they could have did that for the whole game.
Right.
Let me one up you. What if instead, instead of moving straight to Avengers, we got what the MCU did and get individual games for all of the Avengers leading up to.
That's what I just fucking said.
No, I'm on about full. No, I'm on about full.
But that's what I mean. Like, focus each episode on a specific character. Like, get have enough content for a full-fledged game. That way, you understand how this character plays, and this is their story. This is leading into a much bigger story. You feel me? And then you introduce your characters. And then you go from there. At that point, you can pick whatever character you want and do whatever activities and shit.
Okay, so we're talking like a good solid 5-hour campaign, single player
like
campaign for each Avenger, and then top it all off with the finale, which would be the actual joining of the Avengers in a good 7 hour. Okay, that
and a more like a longer experience, because you have all those characters. I'd probably make that a little bit longer.
It can't be grindy like the Avengers game though. This needs to be single player.
Like this would be like single player format, like Guardians. That's what they should have fucking did.
Okay,
and at that point, I would have been in, because then once you finish all that, okay, now you have multiplayer. Now you can do released missions and like what if scenarios and shit with your friends with whatever character they fucking want to use.
Reasonably priced. That sounds like something I would say maybe a $70 all-in price tag wouldn't be too bad. Do you know what I mean? Like, say you can buy them
individually. You pay $70 and you get each character
when it releases. Yeah, over time. Yeah, I could. That would be the only time I would say $70, because if they could definitely say 5-hour campaign for each character, then 7 to 10 hours for the Avengers, and then multiplayer afterwards. Yeah, no, I could see. And
then make it an event, like, because here's the thing, like, the Avengers part could have been like the multiplayer part. You know what I'm saying? Like, it tries to group you with that way you don't get duplicate characters and shit, but like, when they're supposed to come together there, that's the part where you can play with your friends, they play them with their favorites or whatever, and you have shit to do.
If anything, the Avengers portion of that could be a 4-player multiplayer game. Like a single player, and then have it straight.
Exactly.
Like, you can have the option, you can go through this alone and the AI will control the others, or you could go straight fucking 4 players. Yeah, no,
or imagine like you could squad up, like you have 4 players and you can meet up with another 4-player squad of like different characters and go tackle like a big ass like raid boss or some shit. Like there's so many things that they could have did that would have made this game not fucking garbage, and I'm sad that it didn't happen.
Yeah,
not gonna lie to you guys.
because then what they could
I'm
do,
liking everything you're saying. Right
yeah, because then
there.
what? Here's the thing, because then what they could do is they could do subsequent episodes where it's not covered by it, but they could do okay, I'm gonna simplify it and say the Avengers B team, where we get into the story of characters like Hawkeye and Black Panther and stuff like that. So for an extra 30, you're going to get 3 new episodes or 2 new episodes. Because then that subsidizes extra cost for extra content.
And if they were going to make it a live game, they could also still release like character specific like episodic things of like different scenarios. Like you had a bunch of shit that you could have did with this,
but you
and broke it up, and it would have been fine.
They could have done what if scenarios.
Yeah.
Like, they could have done a what if Captain America was actually Peggy Carter. Like, they could have done that. Yeah, you're right. No, you know what? I'm actually on board. Now that we've established, like, length... Because when you say episodic... The problem is, when you say episodic, the immediate thought goes towards, these games that are released, like, oh, it's going to be an hour and a half, 2 hours... And then there's going to be like 5 episodes, and then that's your full game. But no, now that you've established the time of how long these campaigns should have been leading up to it, no, you have me on board. You have my money, sir.
I'm just saying. It could have been a thing.
I agree. And, if I circle in how I wanted them to do this, first and foremost, outside of the format, don't follow the Marvel movies. Like, the Avengers is and have always been a random collection of people rotating in and out. So, like,
exactly. And you have so much lore to fuck with, you could literally just do anything. You could literally
do anything.
But
like,
give us a villains mode. Like, if you were really trying to do like a live service game, you could also have like a hero side, and then you also have the option to play as villains.
Fuck, I mean, remember,
you know what I'm saying? Like that.
Yeah, and you could go so far out there. I mean, remember, Ghost Rider was a member of the fucking Avengers as well. So was Blade.
And the thing is, in the game, they started to do that. I think the second Hawkeye's DLC mission is the Future Imperfect storyline, where he comes in or he goes to the future, and like he's meeting evil Maestro, which is the evil Hulk, and all these other type of things, which is like, well, that's super cool. Like, where was this in the base?
In the rest of the game. You could have made the whole game like that, and that shit would have been lit.
And then, of course, like, and for me, I'm like, all right, so Widow wasn't terrible, but Widow felt like more like the regular game. Future Imperfect was out there. Wakanda was cool because it's Wakanda, and then they followed up with Spider-Man, which just was like, what's Spider-Man?
Why didn't we get get Planet Hulk? Like that would have been a good side story as well, Planet Hulk.
I'm just saying, after fighting the 1,000-year-old Hulk and like hanging out in the Wakanda, Spider-Man in New York City is not that interesting. Like, I don't understand why he was like, I mean, I know why he's the big sell, but like, he ain't the big sell people thought he was gonna be.
Yeah, they definitely fucked up the scale of escalation when it comes to like stakes and interest.
Yeah, journey to Wakanda and then go to Brooklyn. Like, no, thank you.
Wakanda, Brooklyn. No, I'm not going to continue that train of thought. That would have gotten us demonetized, and everybody would have hated me. Oh God! All right. But yeah, I mean, once again, going through all of this, going off our small tangent, is it any fucking wonder that they lost 200 fucking million from this?
Nope. It's just dumb decisions and them being stubborn in who they are.
We must have a live service.
Like, I just feel like they're so stuck in, I don't think that Square Enix is adapting. Like, I think they're still, like, we've been doing this a certain way and we're going to continue to do things our way because they can, instead of making more sensible decisions.
Based on that, what you said, Jubei, can I ask a question? Is there...
What's up?
Hypothetically, and this is really for everyone, put my tinfoil hat on here, my tinfoil fitted. Do we think that the games industry as a whole has sort of leaned into this, like, we don't want to do anything different? Like, we're just sort of, you know how people say Nintendo are stuck in their old ways? Is the industry as a whole sort of stuck this way?
No. Here's the problem. Here's the problem with that.
I
with
mean,
that theory.
hold on.
Go ahead.
Before you go, I will say yes and no. Zero. It's yes because I feel like mainstream games are kind of settled in what they're trying to do. Because where you see innovations and like the crazy additions and shit is in the indie scene. And then that correlates, gets taken by mainstream at some point
I got
and
you.
repackaged into something else.
Okay.
So like the indie scene is where you're going to see things change. I think mainstream it's comfortable. That's why sports franchises, they don't fucking change. Shooters, they don't really fucking change. Like you don't really see big steps in AAA, like the big mainstream space.
Okay, right now, my
It's hard to get there.
my counter argument to that would be no, they are not stuck in their ways because in their ways back in the day, all of these companies made full fucking games. Like they made full release games that had a lot of content, and like for better or for worse, they were games. But they're clearly changing their approach to sell us a service instead of a game now.
Yeah, that's being. I think that's publisher driven.
They want revenue over time. The goal is
when you're owned by a big publisher.
But the problem is, right now, especially these days, the line between publisher and fucking developer is so fucking blurred. Because a lot of these developers end up becoming the publisher. I mean, EA developed games, became a publisher, and are still that way today. Activision Blizzard, same deal. Like they were originally making games, then started publishing their own shit. Like a lot of these companies started as developers and became publishers and are still developing games. So the line between like publisher and developer is really goddamn blurred, except when it's like one of these outside studios that gets what is clearly just a publishing deal with a company. And off the top of my head, the first one I think of is Sekiro. Like, you can clearly tell there is a divide between From Software and Activision. Activision clearly had no say other than, yes, we'll publish the game. They had no say on its development, on how the mechanics were done, how any of it was done. They had no say. That was all From Software. Their sole responsibility was just to get the game into Western hands.
Yeah. So would you consider From Software an independent dev that has mainstream backing?
Yes. They are. Here's the thing: if we're talking like what today's modern definitions really can really revolve around, From Software are effectively an indie studio because the only place they actually ever, and not even entirely, the only market they actually publish their own fucking shit is in Japan.
Yeah, just like when we talk about like someone like Crystal Dynamics, it's like when you look at someone like Square and you look at how the Japanese side of the house is managed and the Western side of the house is managed. It's kind of like the Western side of the house is like, hey, you do what makes me money, and the Japanese side is do what makes people happy. Like they got that Avengers license. It's like you better make this game make as much money as possible. And I feel like that's kind of what we see from like these large publishers.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times they just say, you better do what's going to make me as much money as possible. But what makes you as much money as possible may not be a good game, which doesn't make you any money. So it's like...
Yeah, which is why I turn around and said that, like, which is why I turn around and said when you're talking about, when it comes to game development, publishers and developers at this point are interchangeable, considering the publishers seemingly have as much input on what goes into the game, especially monetarily, than the developers themselves. The developers have just got to try and figure out a way to juggle this fucking catastrophe into a game.
That was going to be my follow thing. So, like, have we gotten to? Maybe we've always been here, but have we gotten to the point where now this is? It's movies, right? It's studio interference. It's, to use the famous example, it's the Snyder Cut, right? Like it's the developers had a clear goal for it. They came to the publishers, like, here's what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to make it. We get about 25% in, maybe 50% in, and then big publisher comes down and says, well, we need to make some back end money on this thing. I hear these guys over at Fortnite are doing these things. How can we do what they're doing and put this into our game? And like, well, you do know this game is just about like a father and son. It's only supposed to be about 20 or so hours, and then we're in and we're out. That's it. We're not doing no more than that. It's like, yeah, I hear you, but like, can we make it so like the son can buy pets that walk around with him? And they're like, I mean, I guess we could, but I don't see why we would do that. It really doesn't make sense in our game. And the publishers are just like, cool, do that. And then that's where we are. Now we have the DLC dog that you have to buy.
Yeah. Well, that just reminds me of Mass Effect 3. Even though the dog was relegated to the fucking hangar. But to answer your question, to me, yes and no. Because at least in the world of movies, there's a higher chance that we'll get the release of the movie that the director intended, which is why director's cuts exist. That is not possible inside the world of video games.
Right.
We'll never get a director's cut because even games that are even games that are dubbed the director's.
We got what's that?
We got Death Stranding, bro.
Okay,
Come on, that was a director's cut.
Here's the thing:
Kojima been doing director's cuts since MGS, bro. Like
Okay, hold on, wait. I know what you're saying, but the thing is that he is a director. But the thing is, the difference is with video games is they're adding more content after the fact than most of the time they add content they cut for time. Most of the time they're adding content after the fact and just calling it a director's cut. Like, again, the Metal Gear Solid Subsistence series. Well, I know what you're talking about. Subsistence, same thing, because one of the things was the Metal Gear Solid thing with the apes from Ape Escape, and also the bloopers, which, quite frankly, if you've never seen the Metal Gear Solid 3 bloopers, they're fucking hilarious.
They're fucking hilarious. Jeez.
It's one of the things I love about Kojima is he's not afraid to actually poke fun at that shit. But, like, like, the director's got Death Stranding really adds just a load of new stuff, and he's just called a director's cut by name alone, than it actually adding things that Kojima took out because he didn't have time. Do you know what I mean? Where in films, the director's cut is very typically the full version that the director envisioned, but the stuff that was cut out by the studio and the editing team to get it ready for a release. So it fits in with a certain time frame of like an hour and a half, which is what happened with Zack Snyder's Justice League. Is like they looked at this and they're like, motherfucker, this is 4 fucking hours.
They said, no, we're not.
We need it. Yo,
they should have. They honestly should have did it.
I think. I mean, fuck them, what they did to him. Even though I'm
make it a whole spectacle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They could have did that. That would have been marketing gold. Like just
an intermission after fucking 2 hours. Man, I need a piss.
Hey, Tarantino did it, and people praised him.
Okay. Wait, which film? Which film?
Well, the Grindhouse films.
Big difference. Yep. Big fucking difference. Big difference. Grindhouse wasn't actually 1 film. Grindhouse was actually 2 films.
I mean, you can split it up however you want it. The time period is still the same.
Oh, the time period is the same, but the thing is like the whole Grindhouse thing is actually something of a bygone era thing that Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez just wanted to do. Because you got to remember, they were both like, even though it's Grindhouse, like it was directed. Both films were directed by 2 different people.
Yeah,
I think
it's
Tarantino,
2 separate films. It's like a double feature.
Because that's Grindhouse. That, like back in the day, old theaters would do a 2-for-1 movie deal on Grindhouse movies to make money back. Like that's more of an outdated concept of an idea, rather than it intentionally being like 2 movies meant to be watched with an interval. It's like, no, you're just watching 2 movies and there's an interval in the middle. Enjoy.
Which again, they could do it. Like
I'm not saying they couldn't do it. I'm just saying that the two things are different. Where one is a complete 4-hour movie, one is two movies where you could literally walk out after the first one and you're really not missing anything on the second one if you've no interest in the second. By the way, watch the Grindhouse movies. Death Proof and fucking Planet Terror are fantastic.
Planet Terror, that's the other one. Yeah, I mean, just treat it like
even the trailers are fucking great.
Dude, yeah, they made fucking trailers for it. But getting back on subject. They lost 200 million.
Sorry.
They lost 200 million. I'm not surprised. Nobody here is surprised. Like, I think at that point we can turn around and say they're about to lose another 200 fucking million from this fucking bullshit NFT thing when it doesn't pick up. Did everybody agree with that? Then Xbox can go and buy Square.
Jesus Christ,
Make
it stop.
No, I vehemently and categorically fucking refuse. But I'm not going to refuse you guys a chance to do your outro. So, Jube, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me at Jubei X Sensei on gaming platforms. Jubei Sensei pretty much everywhere else except Twitter.
You did.
Yeah, Jubei Sensei Twitter is dead. I hopefully can get into seeing Doctor Strange this week.
You're in for a
Your
treat.
boy's seeing it tomorrow.
Yes, I'm trying to get that $5 movie deal on a Tuesday. You feel me? Like
it's not great, but it's decent.
I don't want to hear that.
No,
because I like Sam's movies.
I'm going to vehemently disagree with if you want Sam Raimi, you're gonna get Sam Raimi from this movie.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, but I'm upset that Jubei said he still has $5 movies on Tuesdays. My joint is like
we do.
$12.
We got Movie Tavern out here, B. We out here like, it's Tuesday, $5.
It's decent. Dope. I'm not saying it's a bad film. It's like a middle of the road Marvel film.
As long as it ain't Thor, Dark World, we good.
Then we're good.
It's not a bad film. I'm not saying you're not gonna enjoy yourself. You're gonna enjoy yourself, but it's a middle of the road Marvel film.
All right, you know where to find Jubei. You can also find him in the theater. Just don't go up and ask for his autograph while he's trying to watch a movie, for fuck's sake. All right, Zero. Where can people? Oh wait, no, not Zero. We don't care about Zero, not yet at least. Omar, where can people find you?
People can find me Carbon_Shop on Twitter and GamePlayer 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and Anime Squad 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
All right, cool.
Great show.
Go on.
I said great show.
Okay. Farrell, where can people find you?
You will find your boy Pharaoh on Twitter at PharaohBazard and on all other platforms at Land of Pharaoh.
Yo, people.
I like that consolidation there, brother.
Nice consolidation. People can find me at Dante Crisis on Instagram and Twitter, and the Dante Crisis on Facebook because some fucker took Dante Crisis on Facebook for some reason. You can also find me at Dante Crisis on Twitch, YouTube, DLive. Currently doing a Let's Play of Guardians of the Galaxy as well as Ghostwire Tokyo. Upcoming will be soon in the future. A little spoiler for everybody. Will be Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019, as well as House of the Dead Remake co-op. And I'm also doing live streams as well of Super Mario 64 on Tuesday, Elden Ring Wednesday, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic Thursday, and whatever the hell I want to play on Friday. And so, Zero, where can people find you? But more importantly, because people really need to find out where we are. Where are we?
Guys, as always, it is an absolute pleasure to do this with my friends and have you guys listen.
We're friends.
You can find me pretty much everywhere at zero.exe. But of course, more importantly, you can find us pretty much everywhere at Podcast R, Spotify, Google Play, Apple. What is it, Apple Music? Or just Apple Podcasts?
Apple Podcasts, yeah. Google
Podcasts.
Yeah. Intune, iHeartRadio.
Yeah, we are there. If there's
Everywhere.
a podcast channel, please listen to us. Give us a like, comment, subscribe. As always, guys, we appreciate you because you literally could be doing anything else, but you decided to listen to us, and so we absolutely appreciate you for that. Of course, while I have to always shout out my team because it's really important to me that you go listen to them even though when we're not together. Please go check out Dante Crisis, the Dante Crisis, and follow his streams. They're absolutely fantastic. Find Jubei X Sensei on all your favorite gaming platforms. He will be there. Anime Squad with me, Omar, Weeb. I forgot our other person because I haven't met him yet.
Dark Link.
Dark Link, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fridays. 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturdays for what is your other podcast?
Game Slayer.
Game Slayer. And more actually, and I'd be remiss to not say I'm sure he will appear on Twitter once again, but he is off doing adult things. But please, give a like, shout out, just a friendly message to our friend Kofi. He's just doing life stuff, so he's still around. He's not injured in any way.
Nope.
Some of us have to be adults sometimes. Not all of us can just hang around like degenerates talking about video games on podcasts.
Oh, you mean like FC, who's just a degenerate who sits at home playing video games now, even though his knees are all right. He just doesn't want to lose them again on this podcast.
Well, as I've been seeing FC on there, all he does is talk about soccer. So just give him your very good soccer hot takes and just send them to him.
Tell him Liverpool sucks and watch him get pissed off.
Yes, just say I don't know.
You're gonna definitely get pissed off, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know any soccer hot takes, but like those who do, please send them his way always. But as always, guys, once again, we appreciate you. Thanks for listening.
All right, yes.
Just message him and tell him soccer's not a sport. Shut up.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
And remember, ladies and gentlemen, keep it gaming. Okay, we out of here. Peace.
Later.
I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone. All alone.
You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Vitamin G. Vitamin G. Got what you need.
I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone.
Vitamin G. Got what you need. Vitamin G. Got what you need.
All alone.
Vitamin G. Discussing that heat in the street. Hey, we got just what you need on Vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Vitamin G.
I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone. All alone. outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone. All alone.
You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets.